Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Sunday, December 10th, 2023, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, Cash App, $ ORIONNWSF, or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got Sunday Night Football in about 20 minutes. We got the Philadelphia Eagles fly versus the Dallas Cowboys. We damn boys coming up here in just a few minutes. What a wild weekend of sports, and what a crazy day of NFL action. And a lot of people suffered in fantasy. I took a big L this week with a lot of my players being on the Detroit Lions and a lot of my wide receivers getting either banged up and injured or having their quarterback get injured. And it's making me a little bit nervous as we're going into the playoffs starting next week, best of 2 weeks. But hopefully the matchups end up being a little bit better for me. And I know most people, probably skated by and did okay. But definitely I took a big L. And hopefully that these guys will improve. And I was very kind of cautious with Joshua Dobbs and Jay Jetta. And something told me not to play either one of them. And I'm glad I didn't. But the rest of the guys that I did play just didn't get enough points for me. But something that we shouldn't have to worry about tonight is lack of points with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. So I'll wait for a few people to come in and we'll get this going. Shout out to everyone on Twitter/X watching as well. And then with the thumb took me a little time to make, but we got Jalen Hurts on the left, Dak Prescott on the right. And even though, I'm an NFC South guy, this is one of my favorite matchups to watch year in and year out with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. We know that the fan bases hate each other. The players hate each other, but it does make for some great football. And this is actually one of the best matchups on Sunday night that you're going to see all year round. Sarah in the building. What's good? Let's get to 100 and donos. Let's do it. And hopefully we end up getting into the 30s for both. It would really be sweet if we can end up getting something like a 37-34 type of game or 34-30 kind of game. I'm not really sure. We already know the Dallas Cowboy defense is elite, but they will give up points from time to time. The Eagle defense on paper, when you look at the names, you would think that they would be better than they're statistically ranked. But both defenses will give up points. Both offenses, are kind of on a high point right now. So I don't think we're going to end up getting a game that will be low scoring like 13-10. I find that, if we ended up having a game like that, that would probably be the most shocking. If the Eagle defense and the Cowboy defense ended up being the strong pieces in the matchups, but you never know. Anything can happen on any given Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. Are you did you drive home and you just got back? Yeah, and like I said, I got Mahomes in fantasy, and I can't trust him. And I kind of had a feeling that the Chiefs were going to lose. It seems like every week they get exposed a little bit more. And people want to say, Juju doesn't matter, the enemy doesn't matter. It does matter, and the whole vibe is not good. There, and they're going to have to go on the road, for the very first time in the Mahomes era to be able to win. And you're seeing teams like the Broncos start off 1-5, getting blown out by 60, 70 points to the Dolphins. And now they've won so many games in a row that you never really know what's going to happen. The AFC, I don't want to say it's straight bootios, but there's a lot of teams that are kind of mid and kind of average or slightly above average. And we'll see how it all plays out when all the games are, said and done. But it seems like with the Dolphins and Ravens, they may end up separating themselves from some of the other teams in the AFC. But, we know the Eagles and Niners are the two best teams in the NFC and the two best teams in football. And we'll have to see if the Ravens and Dolphins will be the two best teams in the AFC. But just the way that some of these games have been going, it's, even though I don't have a whole lot of faith in the Buffalo Bills, something told me that they were going to win that game because it just seems like they've been playing a little bit better football as of late compared to Kansas City. So, it's obviously week in, week out, and things can change, within a matter of a couple days or a couple weeks. But again, a lot of tough matchups for people in fantasy. and hopefully things will get a little bit better. And I'm very concerned with Herbert, being injured because I have Keenan Allen. Then Jay Jetta, ended up going to the hospital with a precautionary chest injury. I have to drop Dobbs now. I can't use him. I'm not going to be able to use Jetta. My numbers with Keenan Allen are probably going to go down, and hopefully the Amon-Ra and Mike Evans will be able to have an uptick in their stats. But as soon as some of the morning action started, I had a feeling I was going to lose. But it still looks like I may secure first place. We'll have to wait and see how everything kind of plays out based off the most points scored and everything else. But what a wild, wild Sunday. And when you end up having Dobbs and he was good for about a month, kind of like the same thing with Justin Fields last year. It was about a month where he was like on top of the world and then kind of came back to reality. But I don't think anyone anticipated Vikings and Raiders being 3-0. What a terrible game. And now I can't trust Dobbs, and I'm going to have to drop him. I don't think I can really even roster him. I mean, I might have to go for someone else. I mean, it would be crazy to say when I have Mahomes, Joshua Dobbs, and Sam Howell. I trust Sam Howell the most, but I'll have to drop Dobbs. And I was thinking about possibly, picking up some of the other guys that were sitting on the wire, even though they're like lower name pieces. But I just didn't know if they could actually have another repeat performance like they did last week. But I mean, at this point, you got to be able to take with whatever you're going to be able to get from some of these players. And a guy like Jake Browning, 23 points. I mean, it seems like it's so hard for fantasy quarterbacks to hit 20 this year. It's not a guaranteed thing game in and game out where you have 6 or 7 quarterbacks that get you 20 points or more every week. You have like maybe a couple and that are the big name guys, and then you'll get some lower name guys like Jake Browning with a 23, a Desmond Ritter with a fucking 25, a fucking Joe Flacco with a 20, a Zach Wilson with a 20, right? A Bailey Zappi with a 20. I mean, how the hell does Patrick Mahomes give me barely anything, and then he gives me 13, and all these other guys are no-name scrubs that are putting up 20? So I might have to take a risk and pick up a guy like a Jake Browning and possibly start him over a Patrick Mahomes. Now, if I have Sam Howell, I feel that I can use him and I feel confident with him. But it's crazy that the fantasy champion in many leagues might end up rostering a guy like a Joe Flacco or a Jake Browning, and they might be able to use that piece to win it all. I don't know if we've ever had a scenario with so many good quarterbacks getting injured and then these backups coming in and actually playing pretty good football compared to our quote-unquote superstars like Patrick Mahomes. So we'll see where it goes. Yeah. Oh, they had to pick six, and they tried to hang in there as best as they could. But again, a lot of times you're going to get exposed at some point or another. And then Tampa ended up beating the Falcons. So there's a 3-way tie for first place in the NFC South. I want to be in third place to be able to get a nice draft pick. And, I might end up winning the NFC South, and I don't really want to, but I guess if we win, we win. But the NFC South is the worst division in football. Falcons are trash. My Buccaneers are trash. The Saints are trash. It's just it's a fucking Oscar the Grouch trash fest, and that's big facts. Michael in the building. Fly, Eagles fly. What's good? How are you? Megan with a 50. Appreciate you so much. You just got home. Oh, okay. Well, fingers crossed. I hope everything is good, and thank you so much for your support. Like I said, if it wasn't for people like you and Cyberpunk and Odin's son, like I said, I wouldn't be able to continue to do this dream, on the level that I'm doing it. So thank you so much. I have so many bills, coming up, and I just want to make sure that I can, get things paid, simple, basic things, just like my internet, so that way I can continue this dream and continue streaming. So thank you so much. And after you left, our hearts got broken with the Kraken last night. Hawks, we already kind of knew, that they weren't going to win against the Niners. But even though that they ended up losing, Drew Lock actually looked a lot better than people anticipated. DK Metcalf kind of lost his cool, which he typically does. He's kind of a hothead, and the Niners and the Seahawks are going to go back and forth and talk shit back and forth with each other. But I still think that the Hawks can make the playoffs. It's just a rough stretch in the schedule, and then once they get to those last 3 games, they have to win out. And if they do, and they can go 9-8, I still think that they might be able to hit the wild card. But I do appreciate you very, very much. Bang, 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 boom, boom, boom. Bang, bang, 50. Hala. Thank you so much. Halfway to the goal for our first initial goal. Let me know what you want to do for photos, and I got you. I appreciate you. You know what? You know what? You might end up having one of the best weeks that we've seen all year. And I know, some of the players that you ended up picking up, you just picked them up, because you had, spots that you needed to fill. But again, you were projected for at one point around 150 points, and then as the game started to end, but Lamar with 31 for you. Zeke that you picked up off the wire, 27. DK with 13. Jackson Smith to Jigba didn't get in the end zone, but he got 6.5. Isaiah Likely picking him up off the wire, right? Doing good for you, almost 20 points. Odell with a touchdown also. So that Ravens game did really, really, big numbers for you. And even if you don't win, I would be proud of that performance. Like I said, you haven't really hit numbers like this. Normally when you're hitting numbers, you're hitting 60, 80, 90, sometimes 100 to 110, 131. And like I said, it's your first year playing, and a lot of these people, you're either going heavy Seahawks or heavy Ravens. But in this particular circumstance of you going heavy Ravens, heavy Seahawks, it worked in your favor. And even if you end up losing, projected to lose right now by 8, but you might end up winning. You ended up getting a win against Sarah earlier in the year. You beat Reflect last week, and he's going to be one of the top 4 seeds. And you might end up beating Shep when it's all said and done. So I know some of these, it might have been a little bit of strategy and a little bit of, well, I don't really have anyone else really to go to. All my Seahawk guys are injured or whatnot. Let's just go heavy Ravens, heavy Seahawks, and let's see what happens. And you got 32 out of Lamar, 27 out of Zeke, and then you got 19 out of Isaiah Likely, 19 out of Odell. Niner D that you've owned for the whole season got you 9. So good job. Even if you end up not winning, that's a great performance for you, and it can kind of teach you something moving forward. It's not going to help you when you go heavy with so many guys on one team or another, but every once in a while, if you go heavy with guys and they end up hitting, then you can get an amazing performance like that, probably the highest amount of points that you've scored all year. And, it feels good to be able to score points in fantasy. That is big fact. Yes, Lamar did very well. Candace in the building. How are you? Hopefully that you're doing well. Prayers up. A lot of us are going through a lot of mental health or anxiety or depression. And, sometimes you just got to be able to hang around positive people. And that's why I try to use this channel, as a good platform, to create a good atmosphere and a good environment, a safe environment. And that way that we can, kind of feed off positivity with each other when we're going through the ups and the downs. Teach people not to be haters and not to be so biased. To appreciate greatness wherever it's at, even if it's on your favorite team or not. And I think that by the time, I don't know how long you have to be in here, but by the time the stream is over, if you end up spending a few hours with us, I guarantee that you'll feel a little bit better than you do right now. And we're happy that you're here in the room with us, Candace. We've missed you, and hopefully things get a little bit better for you. But we do appreciate you here. So I hope that will make things a little bit better. And then if there's anything photo-wise that you want to see at some point with Niners, I got you. Padilla in the building. What is good? That is a great question. And Megan, let me know what you want to do. Ooh, you got some Ando swag? Whoa, okay. You already know how much I love Star Wars and Marvel and DC, and I'm a big nerd like that, so I can't wait to see what you got. This is close. Normally, I go Eagles, 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 no matter what. This is the first time where the Cowboys are favored by a couple points at home. Cowboys have played well, and I honestly don't know what's going to happen tonight. I do think that this is the first time that I actually think the Cowboys can win this game. Normally in years past, it's like the Eagles are going to win at home 100% of the time. The Eagles are going to win on the road in years past 100% of the time. But the way that Dak has been playing, the way that CeeDee Lamb has been playing, they haven't been able to give Tony Pollard the ball enough. And, you don't have the same offensive coordinator there anymore who ended up moving up to the Chargers. So McCarthy's kind of doing it all himself instead of Kellen Moore. defense has been pretty good. Record-breaking stuff from Deron Bland. It's like one year it's one guy with Diggs, and the next year it's Bland. You got Micah Parsons out there, but I know he's a little banged up. So I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't know if the Cowboys can win, right? But what I do know that this is going to be the best chance that they have to win a game against the Eagles in many, many years. As far as being at home, you're favored for the first time in maybe ever in a long, long time. Because I'm trying to remember the last time that the Cowboys were favored against the Eagles when the Eagles have been, kind of in this elite status. Every time it's been the Eagles by 3, Eagles by 7, Eagles by 10 on the spread. And so it feels like, if the Cowboys can execute on offense and match the production of Jalen Hurts in their offense, there is a chance that the Cowboys could end up winning somewhere between 3 and 7 points by the time the game is over. So we will have to wait and see. Oh, no. 4.5. That's so young. Prayers up. What's your nephew's name? Ooh. Wow. Very cool. Mando shirt. I'm digging this. Those are cool. Wow, you went off. You went cray cray on all the Mando stuff, but I get it. Wow, I like. I mean, I think I would have probably purchased almost everything that you purchased there. I mean, there might be a few things that maybe I would have been like maybe 50-50 on. I mean, I guess depending on how much money I had, but I like. Very cool. Did they have like a sale, or did you just decide to splurge and said, you know what, I'm going to go crazy for some Star Wars stuff? Shout out to Cyber helping out on the Twitter X side as well. Fire. How many fire emojis did I send you? 5? I'm going to send you 5 fire emojis on the Instagram. Those are very cool. Austin, let's prayers up, everyone in the room. Let's prayers up for Austin on life support. Obviously, being Candace's nephew, got hit by a vehicle, and hopefully, being hit by that car, he can fight through and know that we're praying for him. So let's hope that Austin can pull through. We got Christmas coming up, and we want to make sure that he's going to be alive and okay, and he can recover. David in the building, not Dave Chappelle, but David is in the building. What's good, brother? How are you? And let me know what you want to do for photos. And like I said, I will be able to take care of you guys. I mean, like I said, there's no good time to get hit by a vehicle, whether you be, a young child or if you end up being a grown man or a grown woman, but especially, being Christmas so close, so we want to make sure that, that he survives and he can be in the recovery process. And 4.5, I mean, I can only imagine. So prayers up for Austin, and hopefully that he'll end up pulling through, and I'll have him in my thoughts moving forward. My stepsister, has a girl, Avery, who's in that kind of 4 to 7-year-old range. And so when you end up having a young child, I don't have any kids of my own. Paisley Pup is pretty much my daughter and whatnot. But I can only imagine what the family is going through and what you're going through. But we'll definitely give you good vibes, and it's not going to necessarily make everything better today or necessarily ever, but hopefully, we can, throw the good energy and the good juju out there that, hopefully that the gods, will be able to feel that energy, and then he'll be able to pull through. So, oh no, drunk driver. The car came up in the yard and hit him. Where did this happen, in California? Oh, your brother gave you some money for your birthday? Oh, okay. Great choices, good selections. All right, let me see if I can pull up. All right. Let's see if I can pull up the 2 T-shirts, and then your. All right, here we go. Louisiana. All right, let's see what Megan ended up getting here. So first off, we got an amazing Mando black T-shirt. That's my style right there. I love black clothes, black T-shirts. Obviously, I like the apple green and I like my Mariner blue, and there's certain colors for my sports teams that I like. But if I'm going with a T-shirt, I'm typically going with a black or a white, but normally black is my number one choice. Love this shirt. Then you got yourself kind of a gray one here, and I don't mind gray either. I like the style with this shirt as well with the design. And then you got your there's a collection of cups, coffee mugs, and swag. What are the are those like collector plates? What are the two circular things there? Are those like collector plates that you can actually eat off of, or like hang up on the wall or display? What are the circular? They're not pins, obviously, because compared to the drinking cups, they're much bigger. At first glance, I thought it might have been like an oversized pin, but I know that's not what it is. I know it's like a plate or something, or a collector plate. They used to do that with a lot of the NFL, NBA, and MLB swag back in the day. Very cool. Very, very cool. Alan in the building. What's good? Collector plates. I like it. I like it. Yeah, I remember seeing some stuff like that where, like Michael Jordan and like, Troy Aikman, Emmett Smith, Dion, Jerry Rice, Joe Montana. They would do like those collector plates, like that kind of style. Very cool. Very, very cool. This is going to be a good game. I don't really get too overly excited about Thursday night, Monday night, or Sunday night, but this is one of my favorite matchups throughout the NFL season. I might not be an NFC East guy myself, but the rivalry is always going to be great. They hate each other. They play with a lot of passion, and most of the time, both teams are pretty fucking good. Both teams are typically going to be in the top 6 in the NFC, or at least the top 8, if one of the teams has like an off year or whatnot. So, and this is the first time that the Cowboys actually have a shot to win the game, I feel, at home. In years past, they just really haven't been good enough, or they feel like they're good enough, but then they fail at the end of the game. Maybe this is the year the Cowboys make the playoffs and they win a game. Like maybe they actually win a game. And the way that the AFC is playing out, the AFC's bootios, a lot of the teams are very mid. And we already know the Eagles and Niners are the best two teams in the NFC. But the Cowboys, it feels a little different to me, this year. Are they good enough to make the Super Bowl? I'm not going to say that. Are they good enough to make the NFC Championship game? Talent-wise, yes, but will they do it? Probably not. But are they good enough to make the playoffs and win one game and just to break the curse? I think they are. I think this year it feels like they are good enough to win one game, but again, until we see it, we're not going to believe it. It all depends on who they match up against, too. Like if you match up against the Eagles or the Niners, then no, because if those teams have the bye. But if the Cowboys match up against anybody else, the Buccaneers, the Saints, the Falcons, the Seahawks, the Packers, the Lions, yeah, you would think at this point the Cowboys are the third best team in the NFC. So if the Eagles and the Niners have buys and they're off, yeah, the Cowboys can beat anybody in the NFC other than those two teams. But in the playoffs, and they might have a chance to beat the Eagles tonight if they play good at home. But it feels different this year, and I'm going to go out on a limb, but I think the Cowboys are going to go to the playoffs and win a game. I don't know if they can win 2 games or make it to the NFC Championship game, but the way that the Lions have been playing, the Seahawks with their tough schedule, Packers are getting hot at the right time, NFC South is terrible. So really, if it's the Eagles and Niners as the top dogs, the Cowboys are the third best, and if they keep winning, maybe they'll get closer to the Niners and the Eagles, and maybe we're going to say the Cowboys might be the number 2 team instead of one of these other teams like the Eagles and Niners. I mean, we have a few games left to decide it, but it just feels like, you know what, with the rest of the NFC kind of being mid and, kind of hitting a hard part of the schedule, being a little inconsistent, right now you got Eagles, you got Niners, you got Cowboys. Those are your 3 best in the NFC. And then on the AFC side, right now, I feel that the Chiefs are kind of going on a downward slope. And I would probably say right now, the Dolphins and the Ravens are going to be the 2 best teams. And if Trevor Lawrence can get healthy, I would say the Jags could be that 3rd team in the AFC, but I need to see a little bit more consistency. There we go. Look at that speed. First down, Cowboys. Move the chains. Let's go. Okay, I will. I got you. Let's wait till we get to a commercial break, and then I'll be able to throw some photos up. She's a Niner fan, so we can throw up some Niner photos for her, and then I can get you some Seahawk or Kraken photos. And just when I thought the Kraken were going to be able to pull it out, that momentum shifted when we were up 3-2 to 3-3, and then we lost again. 7 straight losses for the Kraken, but hopefully we can get off that schneid and get into the win column at some point. Handoff up the middle. There we go. First down, Cowboys. Move the chains. And my initial gut told me that the Bills were going to beat the Chiefs today. And the way that the Eagles have been playing, as of late, they've been kind of up and they've been kind of down. But my initial gut my gut feeling going into this game is that the Cowboys were actually going to win tonight. And normally I don't go against Philadelphia, but Philadelphia has got exposed a little bit. And I feel that, they find ways to win, even if it's ugly, right? And I get that, but this is the third best team. So, if you go, regardless if you go Eagles are the best or Niners are the best, you could say Niners are 1 or Eagles are 1, and then the Cowboys are 2 or 3, depending on your opinion of how things are going. So I think it could really go either way, but this is the best chance that the Cowboys have had to beat the Eagles at home in a long time. And then not only that, this is the best year I feel that the Cowboys have had to actually break the curse, make the playoffs, and actually win a game because everyone else is kind of struggling as far as NFC teams. So I think this would be the year. Can they beat the Lions? Yes. Can they beat the Packers? Yes. Can they beat the Falcons, Saints, or Bucks? Yes. Can they beat the Seahawks? Yes. So, really, it comes down to if you can beat Philadelphia here today, that'll give you more confidence that maybe you will match up against them, in the playoffs. And if you end up beating a team like, let's say, Detroit, and then you have to play the Niners or the Eagles in the playoffs, Dallas might be able to do it. This might be the year that Dallas wins 1 game, 2 games. Maybe they end up making it to the NFC Championship game this year, next year, or the following year. Something has to give. And when you have so much talent like Dallas has, at some point you have to break the curse, and maybe this will be the year that it happens. You never know. I still think that the Niners and the Eagles are the 2 best teams in the NFL and the 2 best teams in the NFC. But again, you got Eagles, Niners, Cowboys, just the way that the games have been played. And then obviously Ravens, Dolphins, and I don't even know if I can put the Chiefs as the 3rd best team. They're really reeling right now, and I don't like their trajectory. And I don't know if they can even win in the playoffs. You can barely get any production on offense. Sideline, CeeDee Lamb, incomplete. LG in the building. What's good? Let's get those likes up. Let's get those subs up. And like I said, I'm not biased. No, I just call it how I see it. You know what I mean? And I get it. History tends to repeat itself, but also history is meant to be broken. And honestly, I'm not a Cowboy fan myself, but I root for them. I don't want to see them and their fan base in misery every fucking year. I know Eagles fans do. I know a Washington football team, Washington Commanders, and the Redskin fans do. The Giants fans do. But for me, I've never been a hater towards the Cowboys or the Patriots or any other fan base like Philadelphia. Like I said, I know some fan bases are terrible. Some have annoying fans, but that you could say that for every fan base. Some fan bases are more toxic than others. We know this. We know some Eagle fans are toxic. Saints fans can be toxic. Some Cowboy fans can be toxic, right? But at some point, you got to give credit where credit's due. The Cowboys have a top 10 offense, a top 10 defense. I don't like McCarthy at head coach. I do like Dan Quinn, and it seems like the play calling has gotten a little bit better with Kellen Moore not being there, believe it or not. So I don't know. I didn't really know if that would happen. Touchdown, Cowboys, but it's coming back due to a hold. That's coming back, I believe. Yep. A little premature celebration there by CeeDee Lamb, but he'll get in the end zone once or twice today. He's played like a top 3 wide receiver all year with Tyreek. So, no foul on the play. Nice. Touchdown, Cowboys. And the sports gods must have heard what I said. They're like, oh, well, O-Dog believes in them. Maybe for the first time in many, many years. I kind of felt that they could win this game today. CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, there you go. And who knows? Maybe the Cowboys make the NFC Championship game. But before we count our chickens before they hatch, let's just have them get to the playoffs and win one game first, and then we can go beyond that. And that's really, instead of trying to think, oh, Super Bowl, NFC Championship game, let's pump the brakes. Let's think about making the playoffs and winning one game and then going from there. But so far, so good, and I like what I'm seeing. Aubrey, and we ain't talking Drake, kick us up. And it's good. 7-0 Cowboys. We damn boys. Okay, baby. I see you. All right, let's get some photos up. Throw up a little Dak real quick, and we'll get a CD Lamb for my boy Allen. And then we'll get some photos up here for Megan and for Candace. Let's go. It just feels a little different. And like I said, even though the Cowboys, it seems like they always fail. But typically the competition, right? The competition in the NFC usually is a little bit more fierce. And at this point of the season, it seems like all those teams that normally would knock off the Cowboys, like if the Lions were playing well, not losing to the goddamn Bears like today, then you could say, well, I think the Lions could beat them. Or, the Seahawks could beat them. Or, Tampa could beat them. But you can't really say that at this point in the season. So, maybe this is the year where we get a different result, and it's not the same thing every single year. I like to see new teams, be able to elevate their game. All right, Dak, I see you. I'm not a Dak hater either. I know a lot of people hate Dak and they hate the Cowboys. Not me. They're like, oh, I don't like CD Lamb. Why not? He's great. If you watch him at Oklahoma, hands team, he's amazing. He's playing like a top 5, top 3 receiver, and he's holding that 88 true, just like Michael Irvin did and Des Bryant. Oh, and Pearson, I won't forget about you. I see you. CD Lamb. Touchdown, Cowboys. Okay, let's get some photos up here for Megan as well as Candace. I know she's having a little rough time. Hybrid in the building. What's good? Shep in the building. What's good? All right. Let's first off get a couple photos up here for Candace. Just let me throw up some vintage like Joe Montana or Jerry Rice. Obviously with her nephew got hit by a car. So everyone in the room, let's pray for Austin, who's on life support right now, who's her nephew. So obviously she's not doing too good. And Christmas is just right around the corner. And we want to make sure that he can open his eyes and he can enjoy Christmas, obviously with the family. A drunk driver went into the yard and hit him. So let's prayers up for Austin. And hopefully things will get a little bit better. So let me see if I can get a couple Niner photos here, and then we'll get some Seahawks or Kraken for Megan as well. And that's one good thing, about this channel that, we can come together and, the sports gods and the gods in general, they'll listen. They'll listen, You just got to be able to put it out into the universe. All right, so first we'll do a vintage Jerry Rice, one of the GOATs, since Candace is a 49er fan. Ooh, I like that. And let's go to a vintage Joe Montana as well. My favorite duo growing up as a kid, Jerry Rice and Joe Montana. And then we'll get some photos for some Seahawks for Megan as well. Dallas with the kickoff, 7-0 Cowboys. Now, if the Eagles come back and win this game, would I be shocked? No. I wouldn't be shocked at all. They're arguably the best team in the NFL with the 49ers, right? But if there is an opportunity to be had, and if you win this game at home, it'll give you confidence to be able to win against the Lions or the Seahawks or the Buccaneers or the Falcons or the Saints or whoever it may be. And then if you can win that first game, maybe you can upset the Niners or Eagles. It's possible, but you got to be able to win games like this, in the regular season to gain the confidence to be able to do it there. Oh, you did. Thank you so much, bro. Donos have been very, very light, within the last week. And we had, a few streams of 0, 1, and 5, and I really got nervous. And then we bounced back and had 120, 101, and then looks like we're on pace to get to a good number again. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I know things have been a little rough for you as well, and every dollar counts. And so shout out to Shep and Megan and Odin's son and Cyberpunk and and Sarah and some of the key contributors to get us back on track. Because for me to work as hard as I am and to put up a fucking 0, it sucks. It's not good for my mental health to give everything that I have and to hit a 0 in a 4-hour stream or a 1 or a 5. I work way too damn hard for that. So thank you so much. Let me know what you want for photos as well after I get Megan's, and we'll get those on there too. Thank you so much, bro. I appreciate you more than you know. And I appreciate Lauren and a lot of other people helping out on the Twitter X side as well. There we go, baby. Jalen, flag on the play, holding, incomplete. $20 holla. Appreciate you. Bang, bang, bang. Boom, boom, boom. Bang, bang. $20 holla. And it's not like I'm, trying to be rich or anything like that. All I'm trying to do is just to be able to pay my phone bill, pay my internet bill, be able to continue this dream that I have here. So thank you so much. Reflect coming in here and doing a match. Dono train. Man, we haven't had dono trains in a long fucking time. And it just feels good to get appreciated by people like you guys. Reflect with a 20. Thank you so much. To go from a $0 and $1 and $5 in 3 consecutive streams to go from that to go to 120, 101, and then to be over 100 at some point. I imagine we're going to get there in this stream. It makes my heart feel so much better because I was starting to go down to, into the depression type of mode. And I don't like getting into that depression, anxiety mode because it's very hard for me to climb out. And thank you so much. I appreciate you. Reflect with a 20. Bang, bang, bang. Boom, boom, boom. Bang, bang. $20 holla. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Going long, going deep to AJ Brown. Incomplete. Thank you so much. And just let me know what you guys want to do for photos for the 3 of you. I already know I'll get some stuff up for Megan, and got some amazing Steve Largent stuff last night that I was able to dig up. And then Shep, you let me know if you want some good Falcon stuff. I got you. Reflect if you need some Huskies or some Seahawks. I got you as well. Finley in the building. What's good? Appreciate you guys very much. Shotgun set. Second down and 10. Dalen. Dallas Goddard. Nice catch. DG. Yeah, it's Megan's best week in fantasy. And even if, Shep comes back and wins, if you're, playing for the very first time and you're in the bottom 5 in the league, you'll take whatever positivity you can get. And I acknowledged those big hits that she got. And a lot of times, if you have too many guys on one team, it doesn't work out. Like too many Seahawks or too many Ravens. But for this particular week, it worked out really well. Lamar, Isaiah Likely, Odell ended up getting you big points as I try to battle these hiccups. And I think they'll go away here in just a second. And I'm gonna take a big L. I knew better to start Joshua Dobbs with that 4-pick game against the Bears last week and Jay Jetta, but all my Lions players shit the bed, and I got absolutely obliterated this week. Nobody did good for me besides Rachaad White. So luckily, it's only just 1 week. But with Herbert with the injury, then that makes Keenan Allen's overall value go down. So it's anyone's game. Between me and Reflect and Fo King and Chief Will Chief, I don't really know what the hell is going to happen, and I might have to pick up a guy like Jake Browning to try to win the championship. That's really what it's going to come down to because I can't trust Dobbs. I'm going to cut him, and it's going to be Sam Howell and Patrick Mahomes. And if I could cut Patrick Mahomes, I would, but I can't. So I might have to try to win a championship, with a guy like a Jake Browning. I mean, wouldn't it be crazy that Jake Browning ends up being the reason why you win a fantasy championship? And, he might be the guy that does it, and if you look at like him and Joe Flacco and Bailey Zappi, all these guys did better than a superstar named Patrick Mahomes. So it shows you it's not about name recognition. It's about who's playing good right fucking now. Shotgun set, second down and 11. Ooh, big hit. $10 to hit the goal. Third down and 11. Cowboy fans, this is like the loudest they've been all season. They know what's on the line. This is a very pivotal game, not only for our position, and for first place and second place, right? But just to be able to say, you guys have beat us up over and over and over, and you guys have given us so many black eyes, so many uppercuts, but maybe this is the year where the Cowboys are the third best team behind Philadelphia and San Francisco, but maybe, the Cowboys can upset the Niners or the Eagles this year. It wouldn't surprise me. But again, to be able to do that, you got to at least get to the playoffs, win a game against the Lions or the Hawks or the Buccaneers or whoever it may be. Get that first game out of the way as being the favored team, Dallas, and then going to a matchup where you may have to go on the road to San Francisco or Philly, which is going to be very difficult to win. But if you can win a game like this, it'll help, boost that confidence that maybe you can do the unthinkable, like going into Philadelphia or going into San Fran and winning a game. Third down and 16. Jalen scrambling, keeping his eyes downfield. What a pass! Devontae Smith, first down, Eagles. Move the chains. I mean, is it also possible that we get the same damn Cowboys where they make it to the first round and lose? Yeah, but the main reason I feel that they might be able to win a game in the first round is if the Niners and Eagles have the bye, who is going to beat the Cowboys with the rest of the teams that are left? Everyone's struggling. Lions don't look good. Seahawks have a tough schedule. The Bucks, the Falcons, and the Saints are bootios. The Packers are getting kind of hot with their defense, but the Cowboys can beat them. Who is going to beat the Cowboys, if the Niners and the Eagles have a bye? They're going to be the best team left out of all the rest of the teams in the NFC. The only team that you could probably say that might be able to do it is maybe the Detroit Lions, but they can't be losing to the goddamn Bears if they want to be that team. So I feel that, with the Cowboys, it might be the year that we get something special out of them. And, it may just be one win, but that's better than going to the playoffs and getting no wins. You got to start somewhere, right? You got to be able to get that first win. And then if they get that first win this year, then next year, okay, let's go for 2 wins. And then the next year, let's go for NFC Championship game. You got to crawl before you walk. Big facts. First down and 20. All right, Shep. Much love, brother. Thank you so much. Hey, let me get you a photo or two before you leave. If you're going to be dipping, let me get you a lot of your players for the Falcons did pretty good today. I know you got to go. Fumble! Hold up real quick. Give me a couple minutes before you go. I know you got to go, but give me a couple. I can't just have you donate 20 and not get anything from me. I know you can always get it later, but let me get you at least a couple before you dip out of here. Give me 2 minutes. Hopefully he'll stay in the room if he hasn't left yet. Give me 2 minutes, brother. Cowboys, I'm telling you, sports gods listen too. They listen to, what we have to say. Kyle Pitts actually had a good game. Finally. Big turnover. Nice job, Dallas. But again, Philadelphia losing this game isn't going to hurt their chances of winning the Super Bowl. Okay, here. Let me take care of you real quick, bro. Real quick. I know you got to go, but I mean, it's the least I can do. I mean, if I didn't care, then I just would be like, whatever. But you know how I feel about the people that are special to me. And, I want to make sure that everyone recognizes the appreciation that I do have for people, even though for some people, they don't want the pictures. They don't give a shit about it. But for me, it means something to me. I want to make sure that we can represent your favorite thing, especially if we don't get to talk about this team that often. I might be a Buck fan, but I'm not a hater. And like I said, we ended up getting the dub. How dare you let me beat you? Why didn't you win, bro? I don't want to make the goddamn playoffs. I'm trying to be able to get a draft pick. Okay. Let me get you one more. And then that way we'll go to Megan and then we'll go to Reflect. I got to give you the trifecta of Ritter, Trask, and London, which normally don't do good all together in one game, but you guys actually played pretty fucking well. I love you and I appreciate you. And I'll be talking to you. I'll message you off stream and whatnot too. There we go. Little Desmond Ritta, a little Drake London, and a couple Kyle Pitts for you. And then next time I see you, I'll hook you up with some Braves or some more Falcon stuff. But I wanted to make sure I squeezed that in for you. I appreciate you, man. I know. Koo never misses kicks, and he missed. And I was like, no. I was watching the game, and I was kind of rooting for you. I wanted to finish in third place. It's like, come on, get the Falcons win the division, Saints get second place, or and the Bucks get third. But I mean, our whole division is just crap. All right, let's get a couple photos here. Started out for Megan and Reflect. Little locket, baby. Squeezing a little Steve here real quick. And I got to hit you with the Jim Zorn here, and then we'll go and we'll get back into the action. Little check down. Appreciate you. The two of you. Let's go, baby. And we'll get you guys a few more as we go through the broadcast. LG in the building, Matt in the building. What's good? Second down and 9. Dak dancing around, dancing, romancing, keeping his eyes downfield, and complete. At some point, the Dallas Cowboys need to utilize Tony Pollard for the man that he is, because you're going to get to a point where you've been passing all year heavy, where it's like 70% passing, 30% running. But there's going to get to a point where you're going to match up against corners that are going to lock you down, and you're going to need to be able to utilize that running back and not take him for granted. Zeke is no longer there, so use Tony Pollard as if he's there by himself, not use Tony Pollard like he's still the RB2 and Zeke is starting. Big facts. And let me know, and I'll get you some Husky photos on top of that as well. So that way we get some Seahawks stuff for Reflect and for Megan. But then also I can get you some Husky representation too. Nice catch. Love me some CD Lamb, man. Like I said, when they first got him, I thought, it might take him a year or two to be the wide receiver one. And when they let Amari Cooper go to the Browns, he was maybe a year early from taking that spot of being the guy. We knew Michael Gallup was always going to be like a 2 or a 3. But CeeDee Lamb in college, when you watched him at Oklahoma, you knew when you watched Baker Mayfield, you knew when you watched CeeDee Lamb that he was special. And it just took him a couple of years to kind of get comfortable and also to get more targets, less targets since Amari Cooper's gone, more targets to him, less to Gallup, less to everyone else. And CD has played like a top 5 receiver. And some weeks, he's played like the number 1 receiver in the NFL. Like we already know Tyreek can go off, but there's been a few weeks where CeeDee Lamb has been putting up 20, 30, 40 points in fantasy, and that's great to see if you're a Cowboy fan or a CeeDee Lamb fan like I am. I'm not going to hate. I wish I kind of had CeeDee Lamb in fantasy. Well, with all things considered, you have to have a good quarterback to your receiver. And now with this whole Keenan Allen thing and Herbert being injured, a lot of people want to hate on Dak. But Dak is having a great year like he typically does. And if he stays healthy, Dak's going to be able to get the football to CeeDee Lamb. Who the hell is going to get the ball to my Keenan Allen in fantasy? Stick? I'm not relying on that. So I'm definitely very nervous as we're going to the playoffs. Big facts. It's one of the best combos in the whole entire NFL, Dak and CeeDee Lamb this year. Like it's one of I feel like as far as combinations like Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, Tua and Tyreek, like even Baker and fucking Mike Evans have not been top five. But if you look at what Mike Evans has been able to do with a very mid Baker Mayfield, it's pretty surprising. I mean, Mike had a terrible game today, and it hurt me tremendously. But it seems like he only goes to Mike Evans. Chris Godwin is kind of left in the dust. And when Godwin had Brady, he would spread it around, and that's the main reason why I didn't pick Chris Godwin in fantasy because I knew he wasn't going to get the ball. I figured that it was only going to go to one guy, and it's a trust thing. And Baker isn't that good of a quarterback to begin with, so instead of him distributing it evenly, he's going to have to just go to that main guy, and that main guy is Mike Evans. 4th down and 2. And I love CeeDee Lamb because he can run any route. He can run inside in the slot. He can be on the left side, the right side. 1st down, Cowboys. Tony Pollard, baby. About 3 years too late for having him be the starter, but at least they got it right, finally. But again, the main reason that they didn't do it earlier is because politics, because obviously Dak and Zeke were like best friends, and they didn't want to mess up that chemistry. But at some point, when you know RB2 is better than RB1 and he's not as popular as a name, who cares about this? And Zeke, I mean, I want the guy that's going to be better at running back, and it's Tony Pollard. And the sad thing is they haven't even used him properly. There we go. 1st down, Cowboys. We damn boys, but that's coming back due to a hold. I feel like he scored in his first week, right? And then they have like 6, 7, 8 weeks where he didn't even score. Like, what the hell are you doing? If I had Tony Pollard on my team, I'm running that son of a bitch fucking 20 times a game. I'm running him 20 to 25 a game at the very least, 15, and I'm giving him 5 or 6 looks to catch the football. So I could use him that way. I don't understand why they're not utilizing him, but at some point you have to realize that he is an asset to your roster. And at some point, when you have good secondary, safeties and corners, you're going to have to go to him, and you don't want to have to go to him too little, too late, where he feels underappreciated. And for a guy like Pollard, he could easily be a guy that has 10 touchdowns and 1,600 yards, but he's nowhere near that stat line because they don't utilize him. Incomplete. You're Jake Browning. What's funny? I was almost thinking about picking him up on the wire and starting him, but I was like, that's kind of risky. Maybe it was just like a 1-game fluke. But at this point now, I have to drop Dobbs. I don't trust Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going to play him the rest of the year, except the championship game against the Chargers if I get there. And I'm going to go with Sam Howell, but I'm going to have to pick up someone else. And I don't know if it's Jake Browning or if someone else will drop a quarterback, but I have no faith in my quarterbacks besides Sam Howell. No faith whatsoever. Here we go. 3rd down and 17. Shotgun set. Dak. Good pocket awareness. Throw was a little low. Michael Gallup has really regressed. He used to be one of the best wide receiver 3s in the league, but he just doesn't get the targets anymore. Let me squeeze in a couple more photos here for Megan and for Reflect. I love the white. Blue looks good too. Let's go, baby. I'm going to message Shep real quick. Just tell him thank you, which I try to do for everyone that donates. Heavy to me. I usually try to shoot him a personal message on every stream and let people know how much I appreciate them. Go, 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 Dak. 1st down, Cowboys. That's coming back. All right, I just messaged him. Tyron Smith with the hold. Lots of holding for the Cowboys. Eagles fans going to blame the refs. You just have to be able to figure out how you can expose an elite team. You know, even though the Eagles and Niners might be the two best teams in the NFL, there's still weaknesses on the roster where they're not invincible. It's not like, oh my God, they're definitely winning the Super Bowl. Like, you know, we could end up seeing the Miami Dolphins win the Super Bowl like the Chiefs did last year. You know, the Dolphins could end up getting there, or like the Ravens. And, you know, if they can get good offense and good defense, it's possible that a team like that could end up being Super Bowl champs. You know, even though we know that the Eagles and Niners have more depth, but just based off the gameplay and how good the offenses are and how the flow is, as well as good defenses with the Dolphins and Ravens, I mean, anything is possible. You love that pirouette. Here we go. Shotgun set. Second down and 20. Batted down. But that's one thing for me not being a hater. It really lets me enjoy sports in general. Duck fan, I can still respect, reflect, and the Huskies. My favorite player in college football all year. And I said it at the very beginning of the year, regardless of what the Ducks were going to do, go to the Natty or go fucking play Liberty. And I still like Michael Penix Jr. more than Bo Nix. And I probably am the only hardcore Duck fan on planet Earth that would ever admit to that. But it's still true, you know, and I really had a blast watching the Huskies this year in this historic year. I wish the Ducks were better, of course. That's my team. But, you know, sometimes if you're an evaluator of talent, you can see, you know, who the best players are and really appreciate what you see on the field, especially when you know it's not going to be every year you're going to get that. Like that year, this year that we got out of the Huskies, we may not see something like this for a few years. It could be 5 or 10 years before we see another Michael Penix Jr. unless we get someone in the NIL deal or like a graduate transfer or someone coming over that wants to come to the Huskies. But as far as being as good as Michael Penix Jr. was, and being a lefty and just having DeBoa, and you know, it's like you really got to make sure that, you know, instead of just being a hater, just enjoying what you're seeing. And I will be rooting for the Huskies to go all the way. Even though, and the funny thing is, who's gonna like be excited about it more than anybody? You know, that's not a Husky fan. Me, if they end up accomplishing that dream. Pick us up, Aubrey, and we ain't talking Drake, baby. It's good. There you go. Good points for you, Reflect. Kraken playing tonight. Can we get a dub? I mean, how many losses in a row are they going to make us go through? 7 losses in a row. I did the game last night. I don't want to see 8 in a row. And that one hurt too because I felt the momentum shift when it went to 3-3 when we were up. And I said, uh-oh, because it was 2-0, 2-1, 2-2. Then we went up 3-2. Then they got a goal to tie it 3-3. And I had a bad feeling in overtime. And then, you know, Nikita, you know, he's the number 1 goal scorer in points in the NHL. And that was the end of us. So hopefully we can find a way to get the dub. All right, let me get some more photos here. But I am a a talent evaluator, and I think that's why I'm so good, you know, at predictions and ESP. Is just because I'm not going to just be about one team or one player. You know, I'm going to just look at greatness, and wherever greatness is, that's where I'm going to go, and that's where I'm going to do my research. And I think it's kind of hilarious now that as much as I love lefties, now Oregon gets Gabriel to come over from Oklahoma, and now we're going to have a lefty of our own next year, which is hilarious because we haven't had a good one since Tony Graziani in the '90s. So sometimes, you know, the sports gods, they do listen. They're like, you know what? I know it sucked. You're losing to the Huskies twice by 3, and you loved Michael Penix Jr. Not like I didn't love Bo Nix. I loved him too. But then now we get a chance to get a lefty of our own. Will he be as good as Michael Penix Jr.? I doubt it, but he'll still be very good. And we will be in contention with Ohio State and Michigan next year with him. And I'm very excited about that too. College bowl games are going to be exciting. I can't wait. Stud, 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 stud. We got to get a Rome up here too. I can't leave him out. And there's always going to be a bias, towards the Pac-12. But again, now we don't have the Pac-12 that exists anymore. So now they can't really hate because we're in the Big Ten. And then if the Big Ten ends up being the super conference, what are they going to say? Oh, USC, Washington, Oregon, and UCLA are garbage. No, they're not going to be able to say that. They're going to be like, damn, maybe this is the best conference, even better than better than SEC. Because all they got is Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, and Texas. And Oklahoma isn't as good as they used to be. So you got Texas, Alabama, Georgia, and we're going to have Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, USC, Penn State, and then the Huskies at some point once they get their ducks in a row as well. So it's pretty clear. The writing is on the wall. The Big Ten will be the best conference sooner than later. Yeah, and him getting second didn't surprise me one bit. It was well deserved. And we don't have to worry about a curse attached to Bo Nix or Michael Penix Jr. either. So, hands in the air for that. And I think that Daniels will be able to handle like the Heisman. It won't bother him. Like Devontae Smith, he was like when they drafted him, having him as a 1 and he was a short receiver, it didn't work. They needed to get AJ Brown so he could like get into his own role. But I think with Daniels, I don't think the Heisman award is going to change him. I think he'll be able to handle it the best out of the 4 guys that were invited. I think Marv would have been able to handle it well too. But as far as like the quarterback curse, I think it would have cursed Bo and it would have cursed Michael Penix Jr. And with Michael Penix Jr., he already has to worry about his body, let alone not his mind, and getting psyched out winning the Heisman. And then Bo Nix is already 24. In 6 years, he's already going to be eating at high hop with his wife and on AARP. So he's not going to have a long career either in the NFL, more than likely. So I want Bo and Penix Jr. to be able to, just be worry-free and just go out there and ball out the best that they can. I mean, I looked for the Aubrey. I had Moody. I had Maher. I mean, I got Hopkins, and I picked up Santos for the Bears because I thought that would be a good pickup for me because he's gotten double digits in 4 straight games now. But it was 3 straight games, and I thought, you know what? Hopkins is the number 1 kicker, but he's only hit double digits once in like 6 weeks. Yeah, you're getting 7, 8, and 9. But if I want to win the fantasy championship, I might need those couple extra points to make up for one of my other guys shitting the bed. So if I can get 10 to 17 points out of my kicker and there's someone there that I believe in, I'm going to grab them. And that's what I did. And at this stage of the year, I normally would not go for 2 kickers. But again, I think Santos was a great pickup. So now I have the number 1 and the number 9 kicker. And I feel good that I can use Santos because obviously with the Bears, they're not going to score touchdowns all the time with Fields. So I feel good there. And then with the Browns, you don't really know what you're going to get because Deshaun Watson isn't there. So you don't really know how many field goals you're going to get. And they actually ended up getting more touchdowns today against the Jags than I was expecting. So, but I did make the right choice. And Hopkins at the number 1 kicker still started off slow when he was at 2. And I was like, uh-oh. But I started Santos. So I was like, oh, okay, good. I made the right decision. But at the end of the day, he ended up still being the number 1 kicker and getting the 9. So now I got 2 guys that I can kind of go back and forth with if I need to. So. But Aubrey is a kicker that normally would be on my roster. That would have been a guy that I would have been hunting out. But again, Moody should have been that guy or a Maher, but then they cut him. And Maher would have been my Aubrey, but at least I was able to find. And I think that's one thing that I'm really good at compared to most people. I'm really good at finding defenses and kickers before everyone else notices them. Everyone else focuses on quarterback and running back and wide receiver and tight end. And I find ways to be able to find the kicker before he ends up being ranked at the top or a defensive before they become ranked in the top 5. I try to find them early before they break out. And then I use that to my advantage and I look ahead in the schedule. And I feel that I'm better at, evaluating kickers and defenses than most people in fantasy. And that's what helps propel me to get those few extra wins down late in the season. So. All right, here we go. We got what? 5 more likes at 20? All right, let's go, baby. I'm going to get some more photos up here for you. Who's liking your tweets? Me? Of course, because I support people and I actually appreciate people. You like my shit, I like your shit. That's the way it should be. Even if it's something that maybe it's not really directed towards something that I like or maybe I agree with or this or that. Like, if someone that, is going to take care of me, I'm going to take care of them. So that's how it's supposed to be. It's called friendship, right? Friends are supposed to support friends. And what did I tell you? I told you if you ended up getting an account that I was going to support you, and even if others didn't, but once I do it, then other people will do it, and then it'll get bigger and bigger for you. That's the way friends are supposed to treat each other, right? Remember, Twitter and X and Instagram and Facebook, sometimes it's like talking by yourself in a dark room, and every once in a while someone actually talks back to you. So exactly. We're boys, brother. Chris Collinsworth. I had to. Steve and some other guy. Eagles about to punt. Oh, fake, fake, fake. Wide open. Wow, Zacchaeus. Wow, that was a perfect time to run the fake. I mean, you're getting your ass kicked. You're down 10-0. That was beautiful. First down, Eagles. That was a great fake. First down and 10. That's the perfect time to do it, especially when you're getting dominated and you're down 10-0 on the road. You have to find ways, to be able to, that it's like, some people are playing checkers. You got to play chess. You got to think a couple moves ahead, and that was the perfect time to call that. I imagine that they'll be doing that at some point. Maybe even in the playoffs. Depending on who they play in that proper situation. But that was a great, great play call, great execution by Philadelphia, and it's probably going to lead to points here. A minimum of 3, but in their case, they need 7. Jalen, there we go. Yeah, I watched that game as well. Like I said, my thing lately this season has been red zone and watching games. Like before, I didn't ever really watch red zone and games, but now doing fantasy and wanting to keep up with everything, now I watch red zone and like multiple games at the same time, and I fucking love it. Scott Hansen does a fucking great job on red zone. And that way I can kind of watch, my couple games that I got on, and then I got, anything that I might miss, boom, I get it on red zone, for all the other games. I love it. Going long, going deep. Oh, what happened to my hands? $52-yarder by Jake Elliott. Kick is up near the crossbar, and it's good. Good game so far. All right, Megan, what else? Is there anything else that you want to see photo wise? Kraken photos or Seahawk photos based off your original dono that started us off? I love kicker photos. Throw you a couple Pete's since we didn't do that yet. Got you. And I did see that Grew went to IR, which is in hockey terms a week, but we'll see what happens. Appreciate you. And it's always nice that we can actually watch the games. I mean, I'm not sure if we don't have any other hardcore Kraken fans yet besides you and me, but eventually there'll be more that will come through. We'll get hockey fans that will come in of other teams, but eventually we'll get others that will have that same kind of passion and love for the Kraken besides just the two of us. So the more the merrier. We're going to need it. Release the Kraken, defend the deep. 10-3, Cowboys. Omaha, $10 to hit the goal. Very good chance of hitting that goal today. Handoff. Short game. So did they I don't know, obviously with the hospital stuff and obviously in and out and whatnot, what was the actual injury for Grew to make him go to IR? We saw the play when he went down yesterday, but what was the actual injury in the injury report? Did they say exactly what was injured with him? Upper body, lower body? I would assume it's lower body based on what we saw in the footage, but I mean, I don't know. Ferguson, Fergie, first down, Cowboys. Kidney, hip, and back issues. Oh, God. So Dreda and Decord are going to be taking over. Hopefully they can do a good job because, I mean, it can't get any worse than what it is now. Lower from what Hack said. Okay. Prayers up for Grew. Hopefully he can come back. I mean, that's the last thing that we need. And it's still 0-0 against the Wild, so at least we're not down 3-0 yet. Or at least we have two other guys that we can put in there, and hopefully. And it's not like Grew was shutting teams out and only giving up a goal. Normally he was giving up 3, 4, 5 goals a game. So hopefully he can get mentally right, physically right, and it'll give an opportunity for Dreja as well as Decord to step their game up, and we can see what happens. So. Yeah, well, they already had Dalton Schultz to the Texans, so they you're trying to find Witten-esque type of tight ends, and usually they got guys that are not Jason Witten, but they have flashes of Jason Witten here and there, not as consistent as Romo and Witten with Dak and whoever it may be, Dalton Schultz or with Ferg. But I do like Ferg though. He needs to get more opportunities. It's like they've always had good tight ends. Cowboys are always known for that. Man in motion. Here we go. Play action fake. Pressure on the edge. Going down to his check down. Dowdle. Close to the first down marker. Remember, take care of this. You only have one. Okay? We got one life to live. Make sure you take care of this. Very important. 10-3 Cowboys. Shotgun set. A little delayed handoff. There we go. A little shake, a little bake. I like it. The Cowboys have a lot of talent at the running back position. They need to use their running backs more. And if they decide to go more of a balanced offense, that's what's going to help them get further to hit their dream, which is to get to the Super Bowl. But first, the NFC Championship game. But you're not going to be able to do it by passing 70% of the time and running the ball 30% of the time. It needs to be closer to 60-40 or 55-45 if they want to be able to have that happen. 2nd and 1. Shotgun set. There we go. First down, Cowboys. Move the chains. It's like it's all fine and dandy, running the shotgun set, 90% of the time, when you got guys like CeeDee Lamb that can, break off almost anybody, at corner or safety. But there are good defensive teams. And if the Cowboys think that they can run that type of offense against the Niners and win in a 60-minute game, it ain't going to happen. They will shut you down, and you got to be able to find ways to keep it more balanced. So that way, when they think it's going to be a run, you can do a play action, go over the top and score instead of like you going for a run and they know it's a run, or you going for a shotgun set pass and they already know it's a pass. You need to be able to think ahead. You got to be able to disguise, some of your looks so that way that you can get that big play over the top. I mean, the Cowboys are very effective with Dak under center this year, as well as Dak and shotgun set. But again, at some point, it's going to backfire. They need to make sure the balance is key. And that's for not only the Cowboys, but for any successful team in the NFL or in college ball. 2nd down and 3, shotgun set. And even if that means that Dak, runs an RPO and keeps it, I would be down with that. Like, it's fine. You know what I mean? You want to make sure you're getting your tight ends and Ferg and CD and Gallup, and you want to go to Pollard and Dowdle, and you want to go to all these guys. I get it. But, being able to kind of mix it up a little bit. And it's kind of crazy because, like, we thought that, maybe McCarthy was the problem. And the offenses look much better this year without Kellen Moore there. I'm not saying that McCarthy deserves to keep the job, but there we go. First down, Cowboys. There we go. Move the chains. But I'm not a big McCarthy fan. I don't like him. I think that they should have replaced him years ago. But this year, he's done a great job. Regardless if you want to be a Cowboy hater, a McCarthy hater, a Dak hater, whatever hater you want to be. But the offense has looked a little bit more crisp with him there. And on the flip side, it's like with the Chiefs, their offense looks like shit without Eric Bieniemy. It's not the same. You can act like, oh, it doesn't matter. Yes, it fucking does. 1st and goal. There we go. Hey, give it to him again. Dreja. Give it back to him one more time. Reward your running back. Make him feel special. Give Pollard touch. I'm actually shocked that that he doesn't have 10 touchdowns and like 1,500 yards. I mean, that's the type of athlete that he is. He could easily be a top 5, top 10 running back in this league if they just fucking utilized him. I mean, the offensive line could be a little bit better for Dallas, but they've kind of ignored him, for a majority of the season. Play action fake. Wide open. Good defense there. Should have ran the ball. See, you're getting too cute. Why not run that play on 3rd down, not on 2nd down? You get really close with Pollard, and every single time, he does something good, they go away from him. Like, good teams, The guy does something good and almost scores. You give it back to him again. Give him one more chance or two more chances. You know, that's a difference between elite play callers and guys that are just good. And then you go Dowdle on third down, which is stupid. You should have went Pollard. You know, you know what I mean? Like McCarthy is like paralysis by analysis. He thinks he's ahead of the curve, but all you're doing is just doing dumb play calls. You're trying to get too cute. Ah, Charles Harris. It's dumb to even do Dowdle to begin with. You got Pollard, and he could be a bell cow. I don't know. I feel like he's the most disrespected heavy hitter running back in the league that doesn't get looks. Like they treat him like he's a fucking scrub. Like he's not good. It's like, okay, I mean, he was like better than Zeke for the last couple years, where Zeke would get 15 to 20 carries for 80 yards, and then Tony Pollard would get 9 carries for 90 yards. He would get like 10 less carries or 5 less carries, but his yards per carry would be like 10. You know what I mean? It's like I don't understand the method to the madness. Like if you got a good player, use them. Give Pollard the damn ball, damn it. I don't even have him in fantasy. I'm just saying in general. Too good not to get the football. 1-0 Wild. And especially using him as a high draft pick, and they don't even use him. Unbelievable. Like a wasted draft pick with Bajan, Drake London, as well as Kyle Pitts, even though they had a pretty good game today. But like I said, you need a better coach. You better offensive coordinator, better defense. There's so many things that need to improve, and then maybe even upgrading from Ritter on top of that too. It's like they have like these really good skilled players that are getting wasted. Like the guy almost gets in the end zone and then he doesn't even get another chance to get in the end zone. And it has nothing to do with fantasy. It's just like it gives you the best chance to score instead of going to some dumbass pass to Ferg that's covered in the end zone when you have barely any area to move, or going to fucking Dowdle who's like smaller, who's going to have a harder time going against those big boys on the D line on the Eagles. Like sometimes McCarthy's a fucking idiot. It's like they need to get someone better than him. Like, yeah, play calling. It's like situational play calling. He's terrible. Overall, if it's like from the 20 to the 20, he's good. This season, in the years past, not so good. Whether it be him and Kellen Moore or Kellen Moore. But when it's situational football, McCarthy's a fucking moron. He doesn't understand what needs to be done. It's like you're trying to, be too cute about things, and then you always use the wrong player in the wrong situation. Dumb. Touchdown, Cowboys. Should have been Tony Pollard. Rico, Uncle Rico. That's the only Rico I know. I was telling y'all. Rico Dowdle, Uncle Rico. You know about that? Best quarterback in NFL history. Lenny in the building. What's good? Yeah. Well, it feels like the Cowboys are going to win this game, but the Eagles may end up winning the Super Bowl. So I guess it just depends. If the Eagles have a rematch with the Cowboys in Philadelphia, we already know Philly's going to win. You know what I mean? But the Cowboys have to crawl before they walk. So even if the Eagles lose this game, it doesn't mean like their Super Bowl dreams are going to be, vanished and disappear. So but it does, kind of open up a few eyes that if the Cowboys actually play against the Lions or the Falcons or the Bucks or Seahawks or the Packers or whoever it may be, they may be able to win one game this year. But if they have to go to San Fran or Philadelphia, they're not going to win that game. So they have to be able to keep getting better, so that way that Dallas can be a 1 or a 2 seed. And if they have home field advantage, then maybe that's when they get to the NFC Championship game in a couple years. That's the formula. You got to crawl before you walk. And you're not good enough to win on the road yet in a big, big game, but maybe in a couple years they will be. A.J. Brown. Well, and let's be honest, the Eagles haven't really played very good in the last month or so. Not as bad as like the Kansas City Chiefs, you know what I mean? But you can tell like you're sometimes the games they're winning ugly. But if you end up playing a top 3 team, if it's Eagles, Niners, Cowboys in the NFC, at some point, a top 3 team at home with a Dak and with a Pollard and a CD Lamb and a Micah, you're going to lose. At some point, you could play a team like that and lose. So and just like with the Chiefs, they don't look very good. I don't, even if they were able to get to the AFC Championship game, I don't think they win. I have a lot more confidence in Miami and Baltimore than I do with Kansas City. So, just the truth. I mean, I got Mahomes in fantasy, and I don't even feel comfortable playing him. I'm going to go Sam Howell for the championship. I got to drop Dobbs. My 4-game stretch with him is over. He's not going to be good anymore for the rest of the season, I don't think. And it's a risk to, even put him in a lineup anymore. And, I'm just going to have to go Sam Howell and Mahomes, and I'll play Sam Howell the rest of the season, except for the last game of the championship when they play the Chargers. Because that's like the only team that fucking Mahomes can do good against. Eric, the enemy matters. Told y'all, man. Chief fans are still, I think, a little delusional, thinking that they can still win the Super Bowl. Not going to happen. Not with this team. Hell, you might not even be able to win the AFC Championship game. Hell, you might not even make the AFC Championship game. The way the Chiefs have been playing, it looks like many teams could beat them. Denver's on a hot streak. They're looking pretty good, right? The Baltimore Ravens look good. The Dolphins look good. Kansas City is Kansas City, but again, they look like a shell of themselves. Mahomes is not good. The play calling isn't good. The receivers aren't good. The one thing that you could say is the defense is kind of good, but even the defense has lapses now. So it's like you don't even have confidence. And if you can't beat the Buffalo Bills, and the Buffalo Bills aren't really that good of a team, what does that tell you? It's kind of foreshadowing that they're not winning the championship this year. And hell, they might not even make the AFC Championship game. And it's like, I get it. They're the Chiefs, but you got to be able to understand that just because you had a string of years where you were the best, that doesn't mean that you're going to be there forever. Not every team and every quarterback is going to be Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, where you have 20 straight years of greatness. That's something that you're just not going to see. And I know it's a hard pill to swallow for Chief fans, but they're just not good. They're not a good team. I mean, they're still a team that have an above 500 record, but I feel like a lot of teams could beat them in the playoffs, just, based on what I've been watching in the last month and a half. I got no confidence in them. Zero. Second down and 11. Shotgun set. Hurts. Back shoulder. Hurts to Goddard. Jalen Hurts or Uncle Rico? Uncle Rico. See if they go back to AJ Brown. 2-minute warning. So Deron Bland some love. Yeah, Zach Wilson and the Jets, they actually look pretty good today. Go over the scores today if you ended up missing some of the action. Big surprises. There's surprises every fucking week. Buccaneers 29, Falcons 25. Barf. Why did I have to win? I want to get third place. Bengals 34, Colts 14 with Jake Browning. Go Huskies. That's surprising. Browns 31, Jags 27. It shows you, Trevor Lawrence ain't 100%. Jets 30, Texans 6. What happened to the CJ Stroud bandwagon, right? It shows you. Jets, every once in a while, they can mollywop you. Ravens 37, Rams 31. That game was a little closer than it should have been. Bears 28, Lions 13. Where the hell are the Lions? They look like shit. Saints 28, Panthers 6. No surprise there. Vikings 3, Raiders 0. That's a laughable game. Thank God I didn't start Jay Jetta and Dobbs. Niners 28, Seahawks 16, kind of what I thought it would be. Bills 20, Chiefs 17, kind of what I thought it would be. And then Broncos 24, Chargers 7 after Herbert fucked his finger up. And then the Patriots won 21-18 over the Steelers on Thursday. We got 2 Monday night games, Packers and Giants, Titans and Dolphins. And I think I'm going to do the Dolphins game because I want to watch Tua and Tyreek and Waddle. I don't really give a shit about the Packers and the Giants. But we can always do a vote, I guess, on what you guys want to do. But I think I'm going to do the Dolphins and the Titans game because I want to be able to evaluate arguably the best team in the AFC, not name the Baltimore Ravens and the Miami Dolphins. And I don't really give a shit about Green Bay. So, but already know. But you're supposed to be bad. When you're the worst team in the NFL, you're not expecting to win. You're expecting to lose and then get a higher draft pick and then keep moving from there. Even if you traded away some stuff, to the Chicago Bears. 12 noon. You know what time it is? Time for a sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. Who's winning the NFC South? Anybody but the Buccaneers, damn it. I don't want to win that shit. It's got to be the Saints or the Falcons. This guy, he's kind of good. Players with 12 plus sacks in the first 3 NFL seasons. 2 guys, Reggie White, Micah Parsons. Studs. The nice thing about the Eagles and the Niners is no matter how bad they look, they always keep their composure, and they may lose some games here and there, but if there's like a belief that a team could come back, you would think that Philadelphia and San Francisco would be your top 2 choices. Like they just don't give up. Ever. It's like they're always going to get their ass kicked for like 3 quarters, but before the game ends, they're going to, try to go for that knockout blow, and sometimes they get it. Hurts? Incomplete. Good defense there. Yeah, but it doesn't also help, Elliot, that everyone's hurt. It's like Michael Thomas, Taysom Hill, Rashid Shaheed. Like, really, the only consistent piece has been Alvin Kamara since he's come back off the suspension. You know what I mean? So you can't really expect like the offense to be in full gear. Carr sucks. You know what I mean? We know Jameis is a pick machine. Taysom can't even play. He's got a hand and a foot injury. He didn't play. So it's like you haven't really been able to show, the full strength of the team because you guys could have been like the Detroit Lions this year, but too many injuries have derailed you. The Jake Elliott field goal is up. Wow, barely good. That's Tampa Bay's quarterback next year, replacing Baker Mayfield. Uncle Rico. Jake Elliott field goal is good. So they're still getting their ass kicked, right? But they're still going to be close enough when we get towards the end where they may be able to go to overtime or at least be close. I highly doubt the Cowboys are going to win by 10 points or more. The winner of this game will be between 3 and 7 points, just like most NFL games. Seriously. So what game should we do tomorrow? Do we want to do the Packers and the Giants, or do we want to do Titans and Dolphins? Like, I don't give a shit about the Titans, but I do like the Dolphins. I don't give a shit about the Giants or the Packers. Will the Packer Giant game be better than the Dolphins Titans game? Maybe, but I think I would rather watch the Dolphins personally, even though the Dolphins are favored to win by 13 and a half. But I think I would rather watch the Dolphins beat the shit out of the Titans and see some amazing plays on offense and defense and watch just a piece of shit game between two garbage teams like the Packers and Giants. But the Packers might be able to make the playoffs. They might be able to make it as a wild card. Their defense has been, playing a little bit better. But I think I'm going to be doing the Dolphins game. I want to be able to see Tua and Waddle and Tyreek, and plus the Dolphins defense has been pretty fucking good this year in the last, month or so, month and a half. I mean, but overall they've been pretty good. I mean, there's a reason why I got the Dolphins and the Jets D in fantasy because, I've seen some good improvements there. And we already knew the Jets D was going to be good, but the Dolphins D started to kind of catch fire. And they're the 5th ranked defense. Who would have thought, right? But I tried to grab them when they were like middle of the pack. And they started off slow, -1, 11, 6, -6. But since then, 12, 7, 11, 8, 7. And then the last 3 weeks, 13, 23, 14. And they got the Titans, the Jets, the Cowboys, the Ravens, and Buffalo. So I could start them for the next 2 weeks, and then I can always go to the Jets for the last 3. So I think that is a very good possibility. I actually think that's actually one of my top 2 choices. I think Dolphins Niners and Dolphins Eagles is kind of where I would go. Not saying that Kansas City or Baltimore can't get there, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to get there without Mark Andrews and obviously with no Eric Bieniemy and the way the Chiefs have been playing on offense, I have no faith. So, but I think Dolphins Niners, Dolphins Eagles would be like my number 1 or number 2 choice, even though the Dolphins haven't beat a team over a 500 record yet, but they've been playing good ball as of late. And I think that even though the Chiefs beat them in Germany, I think if we were going to play now, I think the Dolphins would win, and they would maybe even win by a big amount. So, it's not how you start; it's how you finish. So, yeah, I mean, you still can make the Super Bowl, bro. You know what I mean? Like Detroit doesn't look good. Dallas always fucks up. Minnesota and Green Bay are unreliable. Hopefully Seattle can get into the wild card. But look at the NFC playoff picture. All these teams are garbage except for the Eagles and Niners. Those are the only 2 teams. So, you could still end up getting to the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, especially if you have home field advantage and you're in Philadelphia. Even if you play, like shit, you can still pull off a game in Philadelphia at home. That playoff atmosphere is something else. So the thing is that if the Eagles or the Niners make the Super Bowl and they play anybody, right, but the Dolphins, they're going to win. But if you play the Dolphins in the Super Bowl, there's a chance that you could lose, just like when the Chiefs ended up beating the Eagles last year. Because I think, Tua and Tyreek and the way that defense has been playing, I think the Dolphins are the biggest threat to uh, you know, kind of give you that upset over Philadelphia or San Fran. So reflect with the tour. Appreciate you. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang. Appreciate you. Two. Holla. Holla. Let me know what you want to see for photos once we get into halftime here. Cowboys have a better chance to make the Super Bowl than the Chiefs. Well, the Cowboys are the third best team in the NFC, and then it just so happens that the rest of the teams are injured or playing like shit right now. Seahawks have a really rough schedule. The Lions are inconsistent. Nobody in the NFC South is good. So who's going to beat the Cowboys? If the Eagles and Niners, like I was talking about earlier, have the first round bye, Dallas is better than everyone else. So they should win that first game, but can they win that second game? That's the key. But the Cowboys are the third best team in the NFC, so anything's possible. I mean, what are the Chiefs? They don't look good at all. And I had a feeling that the Bills were going to win that game, and they did. 92, $8 to go. Yeah, Tampa's terrible. The whole NFC is terrible, and a lot of the AFC is terrible too. Like it's pretty top heavy. It's like Dolphins, Ravens. I have faith in them, even though with no Mark Andrews, and you had some injuries on the defense as well. With the Dolphins, but Jalen Phillips, that one really hurt a lot, for the Dolphins. But I think that they can still end up getting to the Super Bowl and surprising a lot of people. And plus, this game, they don't look good, but you're on the fucking road. It's a top three team playing a top three team. People want to hate on Dallas just because they're Dallas, but they're good this year. All right. Talk soon. Yeah, but your defense is ass. I will give you that. The defense was supposed to be like this magical thing. You got a lot of names, but the D line sometimes comes to play, sometimes it doesn't. But your linebackers and your secondary are fucking booty cheeks, dude. They're not good. There's a reason why a lot of people in fantasy don't have the Eagle defense or dropped them because they're not good. Like I said, they're very middle of the pack. Like if you were going to go from 1 through 32, a lot of times I feel like the Eagle defense is like 15 to 20. Every once in a while, they'll have a matchup against a shitty team where they play like a top 10 D, but they're really, leaning on the offense a lot. And you can definitely tell their defense is not that good. So I will agree with you with that. So that's why I don't know if the Eagles can win the Super Bowl. I kind of feel it's going to be like Dolphins Niners personally. But if the Ravens ended up making the Super Bowl, that wouldn't surprise me either. But to a certain degree, it would because no Mark Andrews. But if Isaiah Likely can end up in the fucking end zone and OBJ and Zay, and they can, get enough production, maybe, the Ravens can do it. But again, the Ravens and Dolphins are kind of unproven. It's always been like the Bills and the Chiefs. So this will be the very first year that something new is going to happen. The Jags, if Trevor can get healthy, the Ravens with that amazing defense with Roquan Smith and Lamar, or maybe with Tua and Tyreek and Raheem Mostert and that defense with Ramsey being there at corner with Xavier Howard. Maybe this is the year. That's kind of how I'm feeling. But if I had my number one choice, I think I would go Dolphins Niners as my number one choice for the Super Bowl, at least for today. Oh, Lions defense is absolutely dog shit too. Can't even beat the goddamn Bears. I lost in fantasy today because I didn't get any goddamn production. I mean, I went off last week, and then as soon as the game started, I was like, "Uh-oh, I'm not even going to hit a fucking 100." And I hate losing in fantasy. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Mahomes 13, bullshit. Rashad White, who's been great for me, top 5 running back, 21. Montgomery 11.5. I'll take that. Amon Ra 5. Mike Evans 1. Are you kidding me? Laporta 4. How am I supposed to win? Keenan Allen 12. I guess I'll take that. And then Santos, Bears kicker, I picked him up 11. And then Jay Jetta on the bench 4. He got injured. Jets, he got 12 on the bench. That's good. Hopkins, the number 1 kicker, 9. I'm going to keep that. Sam Howell on a bye. Couldn't use him. Dobbs with a 4, garbage. Najee 7, garbage. James Conner on a bye for insurance. And then Mark Andrews is on my team on IR because if I win the championship, I want Mark Andrews to be a part of that. I drafted him. I'm not going to let him go. I'm going to have him sit on IR until I win or I lose the championship or third place game. So, but again, sometimes my lineup will hit 150 to 200 points, and sometimes my lineup will hit 82. I hate losing, but that's what happens when you have too many guys on one team. Like I have 3 guys on the Lions: Montgomery, Amon-Ra, and Laporta. And when they play good, I'm going to score 150 points, 160 points. But when they have a bad game or Goff has a bad game, I'm fucked. So, this is one of those games where I got fucked, and that's what happened. So, yeah, Goff not playing good. Yeah, fucking Mike Evans, dude, son of a bitch. And then I was thinking maybe I should have done Jay Jetta, and then he got hurt. So I was like, well, Jetta got 4. Mike Evans got 1. I wasn't going to win even if Mike Evans would have put up a 20 or 30 like he has in the last 3 to 4 weeks. Like everyone shit the bed for me. Amon-Ra, Mike Evans, Laporta. I can't win when those guys shit the bed. I mean, it's plain and simple. I got too many guys. I can't have 3 of my superstars shit the bed, and that's what happened. So. But 11-3 is a good record. Most people can't even get above 10 wins in fantasy. So if you can get to 10 wins or more, you're pretty fucking good. Brandon Cooks has been playing some good ball lately. All right, Brandon. Really about to get blown out. First down, Cowboys. Obviously, I know my wide receivers are, somewhat healthy, but looking at guys, it's like to start a Brandon Cooks over a Mike Evans or a Amon-Ra or a Keenan Allen or a Jay Jetta is like really risky, but sometimes in fantasy, you need to take a risk, and if you take a risk and start a guy like a Brandon Cooks in the playoffs in fantasy and they hit, that could be the difference between you winning and losing, but do you actually have the balls to do it? And most people don't. You want to go with the pieces that you trust the most. But what happens if you put Brandon Cooks in and he gets a 3? Then you're fucked. So it's like, do you really want to risk it all? For a guy that might put up 3 to 7 or a guy that might put up 27. Shotgun set, Dak, incomplete. I'm not sure if he's the most underrated, but he's been, he's been getting more looks. I always thought, it was like Cooper Kupp before he got famous, and then Tyler Lockett and DJ Moore. Those were my 3 that I felt that were like, wow, but Brandon has gotten looks. Normally, Brandon in the past never got enough targets to actually do anything, but he's actually got targets with this Cowboy team. Touchdown, Cowboys. Michael Gallup. Who's got him in fantasy? Absolutely anybody. Nobody. Right. You know what I mean? And so it's like, things can go good, for a certain period of time. And then all of a sudden that good player can disappear, like Joshua Dobbs. Oh my God, Joshua Dobbs, maybe he'll be the fantasy king and I'm going to use him like Justin Fields. And that he had a month last year where he was great and then fell off. Same thing happened with Dobbs. Had a month of great football and now dog shit. So it's like, you got to be able to hit when the timing is right. And when the timing is right, if you capitalize, you're going to win. But if you wait too long, it's not going to benefit you. So it shows you Cowboys at home with this offense and defense, But again, being third place, that's where you're going to get cooked, because you're going to have to go to Philly. You're going to have to go to San Fran, and you're not going to be able to win that. The Dallas Cowboys, for them to be able to get to the NFC Championship game, they have to be a 1 or a 2 seed. If the games are played in Dallas, they can actually win there. But if they go on the road, they're not going to be able to win. Philly can win on the road in the playoffs. San Fran can play on the road and win in the playoffs. Dallas can't. So once Dallas ends up getting that 1 or 2 seed for a couple seasons in a row, that's when you're going to see Dallas win a playoff game, win 2 playoff games, maybe make the NFC Championship game. And then if they can get first or second 3 years in a row, maybe that's the year that they end up going to the Super Bowl. But if they can't get a 1 or a 2 seed, it's never going to happen. That's what they need to do. That should be the goal, to get a 1 or a 2 seed. And Eagle defense is not good. Again, they got a good front four, but their linebackers and secondaries are fucking booty cheeks. They're not good. And they picked up Kevin Byard and Shaq Leonard, Darius Leonard. It's like they're getting all these other guys, but it's not really helping. They're getting fucking exposed. Linebackers and secondary are not good. You got Big Play Slay and all these guys, but they're just not good. Boink. But to me, from what I'm seeing, and it's going to change week in and week out. But again, I like the Dolphins and the Ravens the most in the AFC, and obviously I like San Fran the best in the NFC. I still think the Eagles are a really, really good team. You know what I mean? But again, the only way the Eagles can feel confident about things is if they end up getting a 1 or a 2 seed. And now, if you lose this and Dallas wins, and Dallas continues to win, this may be the year that Dallas goes further than people think, because they're going to be tied after this win. 10-3 Dallas, 10-3 Philly. So Aubrey is going for style points. But it shows you have to draft well. And if you don't draft well, you're fucked in fantasy. Like I've already, out of all my key pieces, I got like 8, really, really good studs that I drafted, and that's why my team is good as it is. But I've also picked up and made all those moves to implement, people that I thought that were going to be good that weren't, and then replace them for better players as the season went along. And you have to make sure you're hitting on your drafts. And if you don't have a top 5 draft, you're never going to win a championship. It's just not going to happen. If you got too many smart people in the league, they're going to be able to scoop up those other pieces. So, and sometimes you just have bad luck with guys that go on IR. Like I haven't had Montgomery for a month. I haven't had Jay Jetta for 2 months. I got Mark Andrews on IR, and I'm still sitting at first place or tied for first place, depending on what happens with Fo King and with myself. So, out of bounds. And Fo King and Chosen Ones are right there, neck and neck, 102.4, 102.5. And I don't know what the hell the Chosen Ones was doing starting the Rams fucking defense. That was stupid. Got a 0. Got Curtis Samuel left. And Tony Pollard. And he's got Devontae Smith. So, and he's having a shitty week also. I don't think anyone else on planet Earth would have been able to get a record as good as mine with all the injuries that I've had. And I don't have any running backs. Like Montgomery is my RB1 or RB2. Essentially, I've ran the whole season with 2 RB2s with Rachaad White and Montgomery, and somehow I've been able to still manufacture all these wins without any real RB1s on my roster. So I've done the best that I can, but again, I have to find the kickers. I have to find the defense. I drafted well with wide receivers, but again, I haven't really been able to use Justin Jefferson all year. Montgomery, I haven't been able to use him, and then fucking Andrew gets hurt. It's like, and then my quarterbacks aren't fucking good either. It's like Mahomes has been ass. Thank God I got Sam Howell, and then Dobbs, his run is done. So it's like, you got to keep it moving when you have a weak piece. So I appreciate that. Takes a lot of effort. And if I tell you what, if I only made 30, 40 moves, I would only have 7 or 8 wins right now. The fact that I made 100 plus moves has given me the ability to try to get 11 or 12 wins. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm not confident going into the playoffs. I have way too many concerns at quarterback. And, I feel good about Sam Howell, but Dobbs is gone. I'm not rostering him anymore. And I don't have confidence with Mahomes at all. I would rather get 17 out of Howell than take a chance and put Mahomes in there. It's like, if I can get 17 guaranteed and more, I'm going to go with Sam Howell. If it whatever reason Mahomes gets a 25, good for him. But most of the games, Mahomes is getting under 17, and that's unacceptable. I can't win the fantasy championship with Patrick Mahomes. It's just not going to happen. $8 to go. Anything that you want to see photo wise? Reflect. Anyone? Let me know. 24-6 Cowboys. But again, if you're a Philadelphia Eagle fan, you're on the road. If the game was in Philadelphia, do you think the game would be 24-6? It wouldn't be. So again, you always have to keep that in mind. This is a regular season matchup. If these teams play again in Philadelphia, right, chances are Philadelphia will win based off the crowd and the emotion. The crowd is a big part of it. Uncle Mo is a big part of it. Should I pick up Derek Carr? No. I would rather pick up David Carr. And he's in the booth, and he's a fucking moron, too. No way, man. You couldn't pay me to put Carr on. I would rather roster Taysom Hill or Jameis before I got Carr. Big fact. All right, let me know what we want to do for photos, and I got you. You want some Saints photos, Elliot? You got your dub. Let me get you some Saints photos. Let me put up your favorite player, Derek Carr. No, we'll put some AK-41. We can't put Carr on the stream. He sucked. Big mistake, picking him up. But, you didn't know that it wasn't going to be a fit until you saw it. So. This is who you should have at quarterback. You have Uncle Rico, and then you're going to win all your games. You wish you had Uncle Rico, Elliot. But at least you got one thing that's been awesome for you is Alvin Kamara. No one can take that away. It's literally the only thing that's keeping you guys relevant. You guys don't have AK-41, you're fucked. Yeah, he's a big NASCAR fan. He's got the NASCAR jacket, the NASCAR car. He loves it. I would kick it with him. I'd be like, all right, AK, let's go watch some NASCAR. He'd be like, hell yeah. I love that, man. Some guys like anime, right? Some guys like NASCAR. I did see that. But this has really been the only good, consistent piece for the Saints all year. Can you imagine if he never came back and he was suspended or in jail all year? Your record would be like the Panthers. You guys would be right there. I mean, we all suck in the division. We got the worst division in football by far. Nobody in the NFC South is winning a playoff game. And it's funny when I do reaction videos, like a couple weeks ago, Falcons fans actually thought that they would be able to make the playoffs and win a few games. Like, are you smoking crack? Like, in what fucking universe are the Falcons going to win a playoff game? Idiot. But I can't say that to the guy. But I'm like, all right, man, you're biased as fuck. And I was like, you ain't winning nothing. You're winning a fucking trip on the couch, thinking that the Falcons are going to win multiple playoff games. You fucking on crack. Fuck out of here. That's when you know you got a delusional fan. Falcons making the playoffs and winning multiple games? Fuck out of here. Not like Matt Ryan and Julio are there in their prime, you fucking idiot. All the great grills. Yeah. I might have to pick. I mean, there's going to be a few of us that are going to be looking at Jake Browning, and we'll have him on the bench, or maybe someone will take a chance and start him. I mean, if he keeps playing like that, why not? I would rather play Jake Browning than Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's crazy, but that's where the NFL is right now. All right, let me get some Jake Browning up here for reflect. Well, tell your wide receiver Mahomes not to be a fucking idiot and be in the neutral zone. It was a big play, but Kadarius Toney is a fucking idiot. Stop your bitching and have your receivers actually play better. Well, you're frustrated because your team sucks this year. That's why you're frustrated. You're not good. It's not all you either. It's your receivers. And no Eric Bieniemy. Sorry. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, that's just being a fucking moron, you know? Like, no one anticipated that it was gonna be a lateral from Kelsey to Tony, but you have to be smart enough to be able to look at the football, look at your feet, and understand what you're doing, you know? Don't be an idiot. And Kadarius Toney is an idiot. So there you go. Idiot, idiots do idiot things. And then that came back to bite you. Don't be an idiot. It'd be just wild if Jake Browning is the reason someone wins fantasy championship this year. It's like very possible. You just got to get hot at the right time. And we got 4 weeks left. He's had 2 good weeks. Can he do it for another 4? Maybe, maybe not. But I mean, if Jake Browning can put up 20 to 25 points in fantasy, that might help someone win a championship. Maybe it'll help one of us. I don't know. But I mean, it just depends on who you have. That's why, you never can underestimate anybody. Sometimes someone just needs an opportunity to show, hey, I can do this. You know, I mean, in most universes, Jake Browning doesn't do anything. But in this universe that we're in right now, he's balling. He's playing fucking fantastic, and I almost picked him up before the game started this morning. I won't lie, I almost did, but then I didn't. I didn't know. I didn't have the heart to start him. I was like, I don't know. One good game. I mean, what happens if he puts up a 5? It's like I don't know what he's gonna do. So now, if Uncle Rico was on the wire, yeah, I would have played him the whole season. I would have drafted him, but you know, I don't have access to Uncle Rico. Yeah, and the whole reason they're bitching and they're moaning is because it was a touchdown and they've sucked so bad this year that it gets magnified. When you're struggling and when you're playing like shit, and then you have a big play taken away where it maybe cost you the game. Of course, they're going to be fucking angry. But you play better throughout the whole game. You don't get into that situation and you win comfortably. It's a cause and effect. Play better during the game and you don't get put in that position. Facts. Uncle Rico for the W. Elliot with the share. I appreciate you doing that. It helps out. You and Lauren and a lot of the others have been doing more on that Twitter X side, and it helps. I mean, what universe does the Bears beat the Lions? I mean, look at this shitty NFC. Saints, garbage. Falcons, garbage. Seahawks, tough schedule. Injuries. Rams, garbage. Packers, defense has gotten better lately. Minnesota Vikings, garbage. Dallas, great. Tampa, garbage. Lions, inconsistent. Niners, great. Eagles, great. You got 3 great teams, and everyone else is ass. You know what I mean? That's the reality. And then you got the Dolphins and the Ravens in the AFC, and then we'll see if the Jags can get up to that level. But it's crazy to think that the Chiefs and the Bills aren't good, and the Ravens and the Dolphins are the 2 best teams in the AFC. But that's the reality. That's where we're at today. Yeah, and for Seattle, if you heard me, I didn't say that Seattle sucks like all those other teams. Seattle is injured, so I feel that that's one team that could be, like Dallas, where they could surprise some people. You know what I mean? But again, Gino needs to be healthy. You have too many injuries right now. I don't think Seattle sucks. I think they're injured. So there's a difference. When I comment on all the NFC South teams sucking, like the Falcons suck, Saints suck, Bucks suck. The Packers defense and Jordan Love, they played well. Do I like the Packers? No, I don't. But I'm not going to be a hater and say that they suck when they don't. Their defense has played great in the last month, and Jordan Love has played great in the last month. So they could get to the playoffs and actually do something. It could happen. They could surprise somebody. You know, Exactly. Seattle's schedule and the injuries, but if they didn't have such a tough schedule and the injuries, they would be right there or maybe a game or 2 behind Dallas. Like, their record would be a few games better than what it is right now. And Seattle would be right there with Detroit or maybe even above them or like right there. So that's kind of my feeling. I'm going to go pick up Uncle Rico on the wire and I'm going to beat everybody. Drafting Uncle Rico in the draft. Taking over. No more Baker Mayfield. No more Michael Penix Jr. It's Uncle Rico. Super Bowl. Uncle Rico would look good in those Tampa colors. But that's pretty sweet that Browning is actually being able to make a name for himself. No one thought he would do anything. Let's be honest. Hell, even Jake Browning probably didn't think he was going to do anything. But sometimes all you need is an opportunity, and you got Mixon, Jamar Chase. You got options. Higgins has been kind of hurt. Tyler Boyd. So it's like you don't have like a full complement. But again, there's enough there where if you can just get protection from your O line, yeah, maybe you play pretty good, and he has. So. Good for him. It's maybe it's because the Huskies are playing so well. That Husky love is passing over from the college ranks to the pro ranks. He's definitely on an emotional high with the Huskies being as good as they have been this season. I mean, any Washington player is going to up their game a little bit more. Yeah, like I said, for you with the Seahawks, it's just been injuries and a tough fucking schedule. And if you didn't have injuries and a tough schedule, I think I would put you like right there with the Cowboys and the Lions. But again, when you play the schedule that you have, I mean, how many people would be able to come out with unscathed with a schedule like that? Nobody. UW, QBU, yes. Michael Penix Jr., Uncle Rico, championship. Yep, Noah's who's out. Yep. 7 straight games with 17 points in the first half. But again, for Dallas to be able to win a game or two or overachieve and get to the NFC Championship game, they need to be the 1 or the 2 seed. If they can't be a 1 or 2 seed and they got to go on the road, it'll be not impossible, but much tougher for them. Doing something that we've never seen them do is win a goddamn playoff game either at home or on the road. And hell, they even had that opportunity at home a couple years ago against the Niners, and they still couldn't do it. So. This is always good for like Eagle fans too that are a little obnoxious, on TikTok or like social media talking shit and thinking the Super Bowl is like an absolute guarantee after going to the Super Bowl and losing. And now you're starting to realize, just like the Chiefs, you might not get there. Just because you got there and you were good early on, your defense looks like shit. So to act like you're going to just blow everybody out or to make excuses, and not understand that your team isn't as good as you think it is, sometimes you need to get slapped in the mouth with a little, pinch of reality. You know what I mean? Where you think you're better than you really are. And a lot of Eagle fans are in that boat thinking that they're better than they really are. And there's a team in the NFC that is better than you, which is the San Francisco 49ers. They have a better defense than you. And that's not opinion, that's facts. Offense, it could be either way. Most of the time it'll be Hurts. Sometimes it'll be Brock Purdy. But one thing is for sure, the Niner defense is better than yours. And they don't even have Talanoa Hufanga. So. And it's very hard to get to the Super Bowl after you got there already. That's why, it might end up being the Dolphins and the Niners in the Super Bowl. That would be my number one choice. I mean, if we're picking teams today. I mean, Ravens obviously could do it. They could get there, but I don't got no confidence in the Chiefs or the Bills or, it's like I like the Jags. I like the Ravens. And I like the Dolphins and the AFC, but they're just so brand new. Who knows if they can actually get there or not, right? And then obviously on the NFC, it's, Niners and Eagles and the Cowboys. But, I mean, we still got a long ways to go before we get to the playoffs. Anything can happen. Injuries could, do that too. Yeah, defense is fucking terrible. I mean, especially with all these Georgia players, and your D line is supposed to be so good. And the thing is like you got all this depth and you got all these great players on the D line. You forgot to address, some of these positions at linebacker and secondary. And you've gotten Shaq, Darius Leonard, and you've gotten, Byard from the Titans. But the thing is like if you bring in guys, they have to produce. They just can't be names. And that's what you have. You have just a bunch of names, but you're not getting a lot of production. And the secondary is some shit. It's not good. Yeah. I love the offense. I love AJ Brown. I love Jalen Hurts. I love Devontae Smith. I love Goddard. But again, it's a team game, and you got to have O line, D line, defense, coaching, and play calling. It's not about your quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. And so many fans continue to think that's what wins Super Bowls, and it's not. Once you realize it's O line, D line, defense, coaching, play calling on the OC and the DC. And once you realize that, then you'll realize who's going to end up winning. I agree. I 100% agree. And that's why there's a very good chance we may not see, Kansas City or Philadelphia. Obviously, Philadelphia's got a better chance to get there than Kansas City does, but you can't really count either team out until we actually get to the playoffs. But, Kansas City, this is the most mid they've looked in a long time. I haven't seen them look this mid since they had Alex Smith. It's been a long time where they've looked, kind of ass. They don't look good at all. And even the defense is not being as good as they were early in the season where they were top 3. Now there's lapses in the defense. The defense can't do everything for Kansas City and bail out that offense. Ravens, Niners, that's a good possibility too. I would say Ravens, Niners, Dolphins, Niners would be the most likely scenario. And then Dolphins, Eagles, Ravens, Eagles could be another possibility. You just straight booty cheeks, everything, huh? The cheeks are just booty. Malibooty. Malibu's most wanted. Now I want to watch that movie. Don't be hating. Yeah, but how many Eagle fans think like you? There's a lot of them that are on fucking TikTok. A lot of them on fucking social media acting like their shit don't stink, and that the team is the best team in the world. They got no flaws, or they're going to make excuses. You know, you gotta, like I said, when you have a fan base that ends up being too braggy, you get slapped in the mouth. You know what I mean? And there's a reason why you didn't end up winning the Super Bowl last year, because you didn't have any sacks or picks. And now you're starting to realize that the offense gets all the love, but you ain't going to win anything if that defense doesn't improve. And that's just straight facts. And you know it, and I know it. Yeah, but the KC defense is getting tired. They can't be out on the field for 50 fucking minutes out of 60, bailing out that offense where Mahomes looks like shit. You know what I mean? And you got to think, it's not only the receivers, the decision making and the play calling isn't as good also. Andy Reid and Bieniemy, there's a difference. The routes don't look as crisp, and Mahomes' swagger and confidence it's not there anymore. You know what I'm saying? He went from being 10, 10, 10, 10, where now he's like second guessing himself. You got to be able to be confident in yourself. And the whole Taylor Swift thing is another distraction, whether people want to say it's not, but it is. So it's not as much of a distraction lately. Another fumble. Wow, Eagles getting blown the fuck out. Yeah, but most Eagles fans love to be extra. And I keep telling them, stop being like that. It ain't going to work. And they kept doing it last year. And what happened? You didn't win. And then they keep doing it this year. And now you're getting exposed in prime time, and you're going to continue to get exposed. But even with that being said, the Eagles could still end up winning the Super Bowl. They could still end up, getting to the NFC Championship game. This is a terrible game for them, but the NFC is terrible. You know what I mean? Like, you got the Cowboys, you can't even win a playoff game. The Eagles with all these problems with their defense, and then you got the Niners. And so, the Niners are most likely the team that's going to get there. But if they slip up or get beat by somebody, someone's got to come out of the NFC between the Cowboys and the Eagles, right? If the Niners get eliminated early with a bad performance by Purdy or the defense, or if they have injuries to McCaffrey, so And the AFC is some dog shit too. This is like everyone is hurt at quarterback. This is like the shittiest the NFL has looked in a long time. Like, like you don't really have a lot of dominant teams. Like there's no, I mean, the Niners are probably the most dominant, but they don't have Hufunga, and that could be a problem. That's why I feel that we might get a Dolphins Niners Super Bowl, in my opinion. Ravens could get there too, but again, I don't know if I trust Lamar. You know, I trust the defense with Roquan Smith 110%, but with Lamar, it's kind of like one game really really good, and next game really really bad. And if you play like that, anything can happen. Same thing with Jacksonville and Miami. Tua looks good one game, then he looks like shit. Then Trevor looks good with ETN, and then they look like shit. There's no consistency in the AFC with those top teams. But somebody's got to get hot late, and whoever gets hot and healthy late might be able to springboard themselves into the Super Bowl to the Niners and Dolphins. And if the Cowboys end up winning the division, the Eagles are in trouble because, like I said, But if it ends up like, let's say the Eagles, get knocked off, and it ends up being the Cowboys, and they make it to the NFC Championship game, they're not beating the Niners. That would be great for them, and they would get really excited. Oh my God, we won a game. Oh, we won 2 games. But you're not beating San Fran. Not happening. Especially if you have to go on the road. But if you're at home, that's the only way Dallas gets to the NFC Championship game, if they get the 1 or the 2 seed, because everyone else in the NFC is either injured or booty. Yeah, terrible time for Eagles to be playing their worst football late in December. 24-6. And of course, the Eagle fans won't give Cowboys credit. They'll make excuses. It's like, just be honest, that the defense is ass. The secondary is not good. The linebackers aren't good, but they won't. They'll make excuses, referees or whatever, whatever bullshit excuses that they want to do in their head. Not Lenny D, of course, but others, And that's why when you get too cocky on social media, you'll get slapped in the mouth. And then you're starting to realize that, like, a lot of the Eagles' wins haven't been pretty. You've been barely winning. And then when you play a good team, you get exposed. And that's exactly what's happening tonight. Michael in the building, what's good? Anthony in the building, what's good? Raiders. Saints in the building. Who dat? You dat, Michael. Anthony Ramirez. Raiders. Nothing like a 3-0 game. But at least the draft is coming up, and hopefully you'll be able to figure out what direction you guys want to go. Get those likes up. Likes, subs, views, donos. Help your boy out so I don't get depression. Keep my dream alive. How are you doing, Michael? How are you doing, Anthony? Hopefully you guys are doing well. Good to see you in the building. Even my mouse doesn't even like the way the Eagles are playing. It stopped working. Like that rolling part that goes up and down where you can go through things, it stopped working. That's when you know that even the fucking StreamYard and my mouse and I unplugged it, plugged it back in, still not working. So it's the actual program. StreamYard is upset with the Eagles playing like shit as well, apparently. 3-0, I know, tough. Donald in the building. What's good? I mean, I like the O line. I like the head coach. I like the quarterback. I like the running backs. I like the wide receivers. You got Goddard back. But the defense, you got the D line, and you got all these names, but they don't produce every week. The linebacking core and secondary are ass. And again, you're going to beat up 90% of the league. But if you end up playing one of the top teams in the NFL, the Niners, the Cowboys, Dolphins, Ravens, one of those, then there's a chance where you may get exposed and you may lose. So, like, you can beat up the shitty teams, but there's been a lot of wins where Philadelphia probably should have lost. They barely won because they have a lot of heart and they're gritty. They can win ugly, and not a lot of teams can win ugly besides the Eagles and the Niners. But they're getting to a point where maybe you were the number one or number two team, and now you're playing the number three team and the NFC, and you're on the road and you got exposed. So. Yeah, Chiefs are horrible on offense. I would agree. It's not, just the receivers though. No Eric Bieniemy. Mahomes doesn't have that swagger, and you can't expect the defense to hold it down, nonstop. So that's why I feel we may have new teams that we haven't seen. So we could end up getting a Dolphins, Niners Super Bowl, or a Ravens Niners Super Bowl, something of that nature. I don't know. Well, like I said, even though Philadelphia looks like shit right now, it doesn't mean that they can't fix some of the problems and then end up winning the Super Bowl or getting at least to the NFC Championship game. But again, the NFC is booty, the AFC is booty. I mean, there's a lot of shitty teams right now that are either injured or they're just not playing good football. So that's one thing that the Eagles have going for them is that they're not playing good right now on defense and the linebackers and secondary, but there's a lot of shitty teams in the NFC. Falcons are shitty, my Bucks are shitty, the Saints are shitty. The Lions aren't very consistent. The Seahawks are injured and have a hard schedule. Who is going to beat Dallas if they're the third best team? Or who's going to beat Philadelphia if they don't get the top two seeds and Philly has to go on the road or play? They're going to be able to, even if they play like shit, they're still going to be able to beat everyone else. You know what I mean? So it's like you got the Eagles, you got the Niners, you got the Cowboys. Everyone else is not consistent. And then on the other side, you got the Dolphins, you got the Ravens, and maybe the Jags if Trevor can get healthy. They got good balance on both sides of the ball. That's why the AFC is kind of surprising because it's no longer the Chiefs and the Bills anymore. Now it's the Jags and the Ravens and the Dolphins. And if they can get those pieces healthy on offense and defense, you never know what could happen. So. Yeah, but definitely, it feels Dolphins or Ravens against Niners. That's what it kind of feels like. And if I had to pick between the Dolphins and Ravens, I'm probably going Dolphins just because I think the offense is a little bit more explosive. The defense is better than people think. Ravens defense is amazing. They're like number one, number two, number three, number four, number five. They just kind of, shift between numbers. But the thing is like, I think I trust, Tyreek and Tua and Mostert and McCarthy. I trust Mike McCarthy more than I do Harbaugh. So I think that, with the Dolphins, it would be hard, but I feel that they could do it, and we could end up getting a Dolphins Niners Super Bowl. So, everyone's going to have their fix, and some people are going to like the Ravens more. But the thing is Lamar, to me, is too inconsistent. Some games really, really good, some games not so good, and they don't have Mark Andrews, and that's a deciding factor for me. If Mark Andrews was there, maybe I go Ravens Niners. But since he's not there, I can't. I mean, Isaiah Likely, I don't know if I can trust that. So I don't know if I can trust OBJ. I don't, and think about it. If the Ravens are going against the Dolphins and the Dolphins are on fire with Xavier Howard, right? And obviously, you got some of the best corner play with Jalen Ramsey. Do you really think that the Ravens receivers, OBJ, is going to beat Jalen, Ramsey one-on-one? Not going to happen. Are they going to be, is Isaiah Likely going to get it on Xavier Howard? I don't think so. So you have to think, what secondary looks like could actually be like one of the best in the NFL. And they haven't had both guys until just recently. And Ramsey's almost getting a pick every game. and you're going to notice he'll probably get one tomorrow, maybe two. So that's kind of the deciding factor for me. I don't think a lot of people are really on the Dolphins just yet. I have been, and it's easy to say Ravens because everyone talks about their defense and how highly ranked they are. But you also have to remember when Lamar doesn't have his check down guy, there's going to be games that they struggle. And if they can't get someone going other than Mark Andrews, who's hurt, they're going to get exposed. And it's not like Lamar is going to be a guy that can throw for two and run for two. He's not in that MVP caliber form like he was a couple years ago. He stays in the pocket more and distributes the football. Not saying that Zay can't have a big game or OBJ. They can, but I don't trust Zay, OBJ, and Likely over a team like Miami. Just, at this point. Maybe my confidence and maybe my opinion will change as Lamar gets better and better. But if I'm looking at that team, the Ravens defense is better than the Dolphins, but the Dolphins defense isn't that far behind. The Dolphins defense is ranked 5th. I have them in fantasy. I would know, so, and that secondary play, you could argue Ramsey and Xavier Howard are the best combo at corner in the league right now. Who's better than them? You can't name a better duo than them. I'd like you to try. You can't. So if they can play like they're playing and Tua and goes to Waddle and Tyreek and Mostert goes off, who's going to stop them? And with Mike McDaniel head coaching, I don't see anybody stopping them. So we will see. They haven't beaten anybody with a 500 record. I understand that. I get it. But that was before they had Ramsey available with Xavier Howard. So now they have that, and, they lost, some pieces there, like the main piece they lost on the Jets, which was really big with the Jalen Phillips. That's going to hurt them. Just like Talanoa Hufanga not being there for the Niners is going to hurt them. But I don't think it's going to hurt those teams as much as people think. Like Phillips gone on the Dolphins is a big blow. Talanoa Hufanga at safety not being there is a huge blow. But the way that the rest of the teams have been sucking in the NFL, you may be able to get away with it this year. And other years, no. But this year, you might be able to get away with those injuries. So we'll see. But I do like the Ravens and Dolphins the best right now, and then the Niners and the NFC. And I still think the Eagles can, Eagles and Cowboys are still in the mix also. Fumble! Carter, touchdown, Eagles. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. Wow. Like that, huh? And the thing is Philadelphia can score points in flurries. So Uncle Mo is a motherfucker, right? You get one defensive touchdown, that's going to give that energy to that offense. And it's probably most likely you're going to get a Jalen Hurts touchdown to A.J. Brown pretty soon. It's just the way that football works, it's all about momentum. So, and you wouldn't think that it would be the defense that would get a touchdown before the offense, but here we are. Yeah, but also to reflect, did they have Jalen Ramsey playing and healthy when they lost to those teams? No, they didn't. So you have to realize if Jalen Ramsey's playing like a top 5 corner since he's come back from the injury and he's gotten picks in like every game, that makes a difference. You know what I'm saying? People thought, Ramsey's done. He's not good anymore. But if you got 2 corners that shut down everyone, who are you going to throw the ball to? And then you got an offense on the other side. So it was earlier in the year, and then they had those losses. But I don't know. Like I said, teams change. Remember, the Lions were really, really good. Now they're not. You know what I mean? So things change. Eagles were good. Now they're not. So just because a team was good early doesn't mean that they're going to be good late. Lions were good early. Goff sucks now. The defense isn't good. They're terrible. So all those dreams for those Lions fans thinking they're going to the Super Bowl, that shit ain't happening. The offense sometimes looks like shit too. So it's like you can be good, but sometimes you're not going to be good for the whole year. Sometimes you're only going to be good for like a month, maybe a month and a half, and then you hit a fucking wall or injuries. So we'll see. You know what I'm saying? We'll see how it goes. NFL is in spurts, and like I said, when guys get healthy, things can change. But one thing that we can't agree on, you might like the Ravens, and I love that Ravens defense by Roquan Smith, but I have too many question marks on that offense. And like I said, I believe in the Dolphin offense. I believe in the Dolphin defense, which most people don't because they don't watch the goddamn Dolphins and they don't know what's going on. They just have been watching from afar or reading or seeing clips, but they actually haven't been seeing that Ramsey's been picking off guys every week since he's been back playing like a top 2 corner. And that the impact of having him back with Xavier Howard and Javon Holland, I mean, it could be game changing. So we're seeing the Bills and the Chiefs go down, the Ravens and the Dolphins going up, and also another team that no one's really talking about is the Jags. I like the balance with Josh Allen on the Jags defense and Trevor and ETN and what they have on the offense, but we need Trevor to be healthy, and if he's healthy, the Jags have a shot to kind of surprise some people too because they have good balance, just like the Ravens and just like the Dolphins. All three teams in the AFC have good balance, right? With the Eagles, linebackers and secondary are suspect. Niners, good balance on offense and defense. Cowboys, good offense and good defense. So, and normally you would say, oh, Eagles got a good defense. But if you watched them this year, that's not true. The D line at times is good, but the linebackers and secondary are a liability. So, that's why, if people are just looking based off record, oh, Eagles, we're so good, we're going to win every game, Super Bowl, and then, obviously that tells me you haven't been watching the linebackers in the secondary, which get fucking exposed. And if you play in fantasy, Eagles defense is not even worth rostering. So, and if they're so good, right, then why aren't they rostered? They're not that good. Let's look to see what they're ranked right now. They're not good. Every once in a while they'll come up with a defensive play like that, but I believe that they're still on the wire. And, I drafted them and I dropped them because I didn't believe in them. Eagles positional rank 28th. Did anyone think that they were that bad? 28th. 28th. Isn't that crazy? The Philadelphia Eagles, their defense this, defense that. 28th out of 32 teams. That's how bad they are. But nobody knows that unless you look at the fucking stats or you watch the goddamn games. Unbelievable, right? You would think at the very worst, the Eagles would be 15th to 20th, not 20 fucking 8. That Georgia defense ain't working. And plus, all those guys are on the D line. That's one unit that actually is pretty good is the D line, the run stuffing. But when it comes to, once it gets past that first level to the second and the third level, linebackers and secondary, they got all these names, Darius Shaq Leonard, Kevin Byard, Darius Slay, but it's not good enough. And again, that's the reason why the Eagles didn't win the Super Bowl. They weren't able to get one sack or one pick. That's all they needed last year. One sack, one pick, a total of 2, and they would have won the Super Bowl, and they couldn't do it. And that shows you that team shouldn't have won the Super Bowl last year. But they had Mahomes, and they had just enough to match the production. Jalen Hurts played like a god, and Mahomes tried to match it. But the thing that made the difference is that the Chiefs' O-line was the MVP of that Super Bowl. They didn't allow any sack lunches, and they didn't have any picks with Mahomes, and it was just barely good enough to be able to get the dub. Now, imagine if the Eagles would have got 2 sack lunches and 2 picks, or 5 sacks and 2 picks. They would have blown out the Chiefs last year. So it shows you it's about O-line, D-line, defense, coaching, and play calling. And if you don't have a good defense or a good defensive coordinator, you will get exposed at some point in the season. That's unbelievable. I knew they were bad, but I did not know they were that bad. Unbelievable. 28? Jesus Christ. And they just got a defensive touchdown. Good for them. You know what I mean? But, and it shows you if there's one thing that the Eagles should be focusing on in the draft, right, is getting linebackers that are capable. But more importantly than that, right, they need secondary guys that aren't names that actually fucking produce. Because that's where they get fucking waxed the most, is that they can't cover. They can't pick. They can't cover. They can't play man. They can't play zone. They can't play prevent. They can't play dime. They can't play nickel. They can't play anything. And if you actually get a capable quarterback, like Brock Purdy or Dak Prescott, you get fucking exposed. I mean, it's like you got like Hassan Reddick, and you got big play Slay, but those guys aren't good enough. Like you need more. It's like you need 2 out of the 3 linebackers to be studs, and then the third guy needs to be above average. And then the secondary, you need to get guys that can cover, guys that can get interceptions, and guys that can cover one-on-one. And you don't have that. But that's a big reason why Philadelphia may, get upset because when everyone thinks of Philadelphia, they think of Jalen. They think of AJ Brown. Devontae Smith, Goddard. They don't think about the defense, and that's the fucking problem. When you think Niners, what do you think? First, you think defense. Maybe Christian McCaffrey. You're not thinking Purdy or Debo or Ayuk. Maybe you're thinking McCaffrey, Kittle. Maybe you're thinking Kyle Shanahan, but you're thinking defense, right? And if you have defense first, right, and that's what you're thinking, Fred Warner, Talanoa Hufanga, those guys up front, because defense wins games, defense wins championships. Yeah, there's a lot of games that they barely won because they won ugly. But they haven't gone against quarterbacks that were good enough to be able to move the football and expose those secondary members as much. Oh, Eagles defense in the 90s with Ryan coaching. Yes, with Reggie White. But when you thought about defense, exactly. That's the type of defense that you want. Guys flying around where, where you're doing schemes, where you're doing crazy shit like 4-6. If you run something like, like a 4-6 or, like a 4-4-3 or however you want to do it, there's many ways that you can, a 5-3-3, any kind of exotic defense, on the Eagles or the Bears in the 80s and the 90s. I mean, you could really do it all. And, when you actually get to a point where you think of the defense like in, the Ryan era with the Eagles, that's when the Eagles will win a Super Bowl. And I obviously knew they had a very, very good chance against Tom Brady the very first year of my channel because they had the O-line, the D-line, right? They had obviously the Jay Ajayi, and they had the four horsemen at running back. And even though that it was going to be Nick Foles against Tom Brady, I thought O-line, D-line, defense, coaching, if they play a clean game, they can win, and they can win big. I predicted that they would win big. They would win by 9 or 10. My very first year on the channel, everyone made fun of me besides the Eagle fans, and then I ended up being correct. They ended up winning by 9, 10 points. So, again, but if they didn't play a clean game, I didn't predict Philly, but I knew O-line, D-line, defense, coaching, play calling, and those four horsemen with Jay Ajayi would be the difference, and it was. Go, go, go! Bird! First down, Cowboys. Seth Joyner. Yes. Back when they had Keith Jackson at tight end, Seth Joyner, the old school names of Randall Cunningham and having Reggie White, Jerome Brown, you know what I'm saying? Like either you know or you don't. Trotter was later, yeah, and whatnot, but yeah. I mean, Trotter was good everywhere he was. That guy was like one of the most underrated players, whether he was on the Redskins or wherever he was at. Big facts. And that's why, if you watch football, you have to be able to pay attention, to defensive ranks, who's coaching, who's calling plays, who's hurt, who's not, and it's not going to be the same thing every single year. Maybe the Chiefs fans thought it was just going to be peaches and cream, just like New England with Gronk and Brady and fucking Belichick, but you're never going to see that ever again. In your lifetime, you're never going to see a team dominate for 20 years in the NFL straight. Not going to happen, period. You might see a team do good for 5 to 10 if it's built right, but you're never going to see a 20-year dominance like we saw with Bill, with Gronk, and Brady. Never, never, never. Second down and 4, 24-13. And as shitty as the Eagles have played, a couple big defensive plays, right? And a couple splash offensive plays, this game could go into overtime because Philly is built for long-term success. And that's why you never can count out Philadelphia or San Francisco out of any game because, they always fight. And it's about believing that you can come back and win when all the odds are against you. And those are the two best teams in the NFL today that have that ability. And that stems from their head coach, with Sirianni as well as Kyle Shanahan, making them believe that they're better than they are, or, talking up that defense that is dog shit, and making them think that they can actually make a play. So, but if you got the 28th to 29th ranked defense, you ain't winning no goddamn Super Bowl. You got to improve. Instead of worrying about coaching, your athletes to get a job. All right, you need to get a job. You need to get an iMac. You need to get a fucking microphone, and then you need to be able to get good internet. And then instead of worrying about where you should coach, you can actually call duck games with me here online. That's what you need to do. You ain't going to be coaching shit, but you can come out here and you can actually get on the microphone with your boy and we can do some duck games. That's what you need to focus on. Job, computer, microphone, good internet, hanging out with O-Dog when we do duck games. That should be your goal. You ain't going to be coaching shit, all right? But you could be hopping online here with me. Big facts. You got to get your priorities in order. Come on, Matt Payton. Get that good Hawaii internet, not that bootio internet that you have right now. Job, iMac, microphone, boom shakalaka, duck streams with O-Dog. And it's not like I would have just anybody online with me either. God, my fantasy team sucks. Terrible year. $8 to go to hit the goal. 6 more to get to 30. They're down in 15. Shotgun set. Sarah with $1. Dak scrambling, gambling. Look at him go. But it's coming back due to a hold. But as bad as the Eagles look, right? As bad as the Eagles look before we start getting on this like cowboy train where they're going to win the fucking Super Bowl, which they're not, right? More than likely. If the game was in Philadelphia, what do you think the score would be? Honestly, based on how the team sits, even if they have a 28th ranked defense, do you think Philadelphia is losing at home? And if they are, how much are they losing by? Not by much, because that Philadelphia crowd makes a difference. That's what sports is about. No Brian Dawkins. That's my favorite Philadelphia Eagle of all time. I'm a defensive guy too. You know, I'm a linebacker safety guy. So I appreciate O line, D line, linebackers, safeties, corners, special teams. It's not like I hate quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, but that shit is you know, it's kind of like this popular position that sometimes is overrated. Yeah, you need to have good players there, but when you realize it's about O line, D line, defense coaching, play calling that wins games and wins Super Bowls and wins championships, then your perspective changes. But I've always been a defensive guy. Defense wins championships, baby. Believe that. Believe that. Sarah with $1. My rolly thing doesn't work on my mouse though, so I got to scroll up and down. Bang, 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 boom, 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 bang, bang. Let me know what you want to see for photos with your Colts, and I got you. Hell, even if the Eagles had Brian Dawkins, it wouldn't be enough. And like it would help a lot. That would be covering the safety position. But what about the corners? Can't cover a nosebleed. They cover worse than a heavy blanket. It don't work. Kick is up, and it's good. Aubrey, kind of good. Nice job, Aubrey. Got mad fantasy points for Reflect. They got their kicker for the next 10 years. And if the Cowboys end up winning a Super Bowl or get to an NFC championship game, you best believe that this guy is going to be a very big part of the solution. Stud. Top 2 kicker in the league with Hopkins. And honestly, he's been doing better than Hopkins as of late. Hopkins has only hit double digits, in the last one time in the last 6-7 weeks. And I would know because I have him. So he was much stronger at the beginning of the year. 50 plus yards, 7 for 7 because he's a soccer player and he's good, baby. Now, if the Rams didn't fire Maher, I would have been up there with another kicker too. But 14 fantasy points from Drake. Nice. But O-line, D-line, defense, coaching, play calling. That's always what's going to win you a Super Bowl. Nice job. It's so annoying my Rolly thing isn't working. Like the program is shut down. They were so upset the Eagles are playing like shit. And look, they're only down 14. Like how many times this season where we said the Eagles should have lost and then they come back and win because they got Devontae Smith, they got AJ Brown, they got good running backs, they got plenty of pieces, they got Dallas Goedert back. The offensive line is one of the best in the world, right? So it's like as bad as they look for 3 quarters, sometimes all they need is 1 quarter and then they can get to overtime or some way find a way to win. Well, it's not that Jalen Hurts is off, it's that the schedule is harder. You have to be able to look at every single factor. When you have a first place schedule instead of a third place schedule, things get a lot fucking harder, when you have a first place schedule. So a lot of times you're playing better teams, defense got worse, offense is good, and Jalen isn't having as good of a season. But again, when you have a third place schedule, your numbers are going to be much higher than when you have a first place schedule. Facts. I mean, Jalen is amazing. He's going to be amazing. He's going to end up getting Super Bowl MVP at some point in his career. The Eagles, you would think if they can get the right combination of players on the defense in the next 5 years, regardless if this push gets banned and outlawed or not, right? They're going to be able to get there. But, if the defense was better last year, that was a really good opportunity for them that slipped through their fingers because they couldn't even get 1 sack and 1 pick. Think about that for a second. When's the last time you remember an elite team couldn't get 1 sack or 1 pick in the Super Bowl? Very alarming. Yeah, not as healthy. Secondary linebackers aren't as good. First place schedule. Jalen, obviously, with the decision making, hasn't been as good. But also, we have to give credit to the other teams that have been playing them. They've game planned and they have the target on their back. They already saw it last year, so now they have more film on them on what they do. You know what I mean? So there's going to be a number of factors. But with all that being said, the Eagle offense is still one of the best in the world. It's just the defense that's bootios. So. Raiders head coach. I know there was rumblings and rumors that you guys would bring Gruden back if he decided to stop suing the NFL. But if I am the Raiders, there's one coach that I would try to get and one coach that could turn that team around. And his name is Jim Harbaugh. But would he ever leave Michigan? Probably not, because you're going from a top-tier team that could win the Natty this year and then continue that pattern, right, of winning Natties or being very, very good, going to a team like the Raiders and having them to dig them out of dysfunction, at the bottom of the league and trying to make them relevant again. But to me, that would be the only guy that could turn it around, and it may take a couple years for him to get his guys to turn that ship around. But to me, that's the only guy in the NFL and college that could turn that bitch around, honestly. And I know I'm not the only one that thinks that either. Going long, going deep. Oh, what happened to my hands, baby? But my two favorite teams, in the NFL, AFC, Dolphins, Niners right now. But again, that could change. It could be Ravens next week. It could be somebody else. But even losing Talanoa Hufanga, they still have plenty of pieces that's not going to hurt them. Even though that is one of the better secondary players in the NFL, it'll hurt, but it's not going to be like this Eagle defense where it's just going to dismantle them altogether. So, yeah, hybrid, they're ranked 28th. See, that's one thing that you either have been watching every Eagle game or you only watch Ravens games. So it's like they're winning games and coming back because of Jalen Hurts, not because of their defense. They got lucky with the fucking fumble for a touchdown today, but there's been many games where the Eagles should have lost. Their record, honestly, should be kind of like the Chiefs, where they should probably be 8-5. They should not be 10-2 right now. I mean, they should be like 8-4. That should be what the Eagle record is this year. MVP, fucking couldn't tell you. I mean, there's many guys that you could say that are in the running for MVP. I don't think there's one clear-cut guy that you could say. Fourth down and 9. And we still got a month to go, so we don't even know how things are going to – whoever is hot and healthy, that's the teams that are going to go the furthest because obviously there's a lot of holes right now. But again, even though the Eagle defense is ass, if the game was in Philadelphia today, do you think the score would be 27-13 Dallas? It wouldn't be. You know, if Dallas would be leading, it wouldn't be leading by this much because that Philadelphia crowd would make a difference. And that's the facts, you know. And so Philadelphia can give up this game now, but if Philadelphia has home field advantage and they play Dallas in the playoffs, who do you think is going to win? If the game is in Philadelphia, chances are 9 times out of 10 it'll be Philadelphia, even if their defense is ass, because Dallas won't play good with the crowd being noisy. You know, when the crowd is cheering for them, yeah, they play great. But when Dallas goes onto the road, you know, and they got, you know, people yelling and screaming at them, they're not the same team. CeeDee Lamb ain't going to be as good as he is at home, and that's just facts. Yeah, it's probably the weakest 10-2 I've seen in probably the last 5 years, especially with a 28th ranked defense. And it's crazy because they got all these Georgia players. You got Fletcher Cox. You got Jordan Davis. You know, you got all these like amazing, quote unquote, great players, right? But Hassan Reddick, where are you? You know, big play Slay, where are you? Then you bring in Shaq Leonard, Darius Leonard. He's old, not the same player with the back surgeries. And you bring in Kevin Byard, but he's not the same player that he was on the Titans either. So it's like you're bringing in names, but what kind of production are you getting? You're not. So that's the difference. But obviously, I can't tell you who's going to be the MVP. You know, a lot could change in the last month of the season for offense and defense. Honestly, I need to get a drink. I would say there's one dominant team in the NFL, and that's the San Francisco 49ers, in my opinion. But everyone else, you know, has their, days where they're good or bad. You know, they had 15 straight wins, then they had the 3 losses, but they've been able to recover from that. And it's all about having elite players on offense and defense, and also have a brilliant head coach in Kyle Shanahan. So for me, I would say that the Niners are the only dominant team in the NFL, even with that 3-game skid. But no one goes undefeated in the NFL. You know, so if you had to look at all the teams, who do you trust the most on offense and defense? And who do you trust the most play calling, offense and defense? And who do you trust the most at home and on the road? And the simple answer is the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, if you say any other team, I mean, and, Dolphins, but the thing is, they haven't beaten a team that has an above 500 record, but you have to watch the games to know that. You know what I mean? But I think they've turned the corner, and the reason I like them as maybe my Super Bowl pick in the AFC before everyone else, because I feel that with Mike McDaniel, being in that 49er system, knowing those 49er players, having a 49er styled offense, Tyreek, Waddle, Mostert, playing like the AFC 49ers, that's essentially what it is. And then you got Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard now healthy together. That's the difference. So that's why I feel that we may end up seeing Niners versus the Niners in a Super Bowl. It's just the AFC Niners going against the NFC Niners and the Dolphins and the San Francisco 49ers. But we'll see if I'm correct. My ESP is usually right, but not right all the time, but we will see. It all depends on who gets hot and healthy. I mean, if Tua goes down with an injury or Tyreek, then that goes out the window, So reflect with the doll hair. I appreciate you. Bang, bang, bang. Boom, boom, boom. Bang, bang. And I'll get you and Sarah a photo or two for your $2 donations. We're getting closer to the goal. Wow, almost picked. And Tua will have good games and bad games. Some games he looks great, but other games he gets exposed. And also too that offensive line for the Dolphins worries me a little bit. So if you get a good D line that gets pressure, that could be the end of Tua. He won't have time to go to that 60-yard bomb to Tyreek, where Tyreek has 12 catches for 220 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like if you go against a shitty defense, you might be able to do that. But if it's the Dolphins and the Niners in the Super Bowl, you might still get a couple big splash plays, but you're not going to get as many as you would in the regular season. Third down and 4, 27-13 Dallas. First down, Cowboys. Move the chains. Yeah, Tua is the most disrespected quarterback in the NFL. I feel like statistically, if you look at a lot of his stats, they're better than people think, but people don't want to label him a top 5 or top 10 quarterback. They just always want to talk shit for whatever reason. But the reason that I like Tua is probably a reason why other people don't like him. It's not necessarily Tua. For me, it's more Mike McDaniel and his play calling. That's why I like Tua. It's because I'm seeing a little baby Kyle Shanahan in the works. And McDaniel is really smart. He picked up a lot of his secrets and a lot of his skill set from Kyle Shanahan. And I feel that Shanahan is one of the best play callers in the NFL, like Sean McVay. So if you can, copy that same type of thing, and he was in that system, that's where he came from, San Francisco. So, I like to be able to see that type of player, that type of coach, and then relaying that. And that's why, the Cowboys and the Chargers, you're seeing like a lot of the similarities. Now Chargers have more injuries than they're cursed, and then they keep failing year in and year out. But again, I think the Dolphins are going to end up being the new San Francisco 49ers in the AFC. So it's just about can they stay hot and healthy here in December. Play action fake. Dak looking for a man. Check down. Incomplete. All right, I'll get to Michael Pittman Jr. Appreciate you. Wide receiver 1, Michael Pittman Jr. Dak, incomplete. Flag. There it is. Appreciate you. I see you. Don't count the Jags out either, though. Like I said, Trevor Lawrence and with Josh Allen on that defense, Jags are going to be up and down. But if Trevor's going and ETN is going with those receivers, and then that defense and Josh Allen plays well, the Jags could be that sleeper team. But it all depends on Trevor's health. It's all about balance. Dolphins, Ravens, Jags, they have balance. The Bills and Chiefs are, what are they? They're just kind of above average, sometimes below average play. So Judah in the building. What's good? Judah, my boy. Oh, Hurdle. Bird. First down, Cowboys. Cracking down 1-0. What's new? 8-game losing streak? Fuck. Can we get a goddamn win, Kraken? Golly. Yeah, see, that's why. I follow everybody. I'm always on it. I'm always looking for the teams that have the most well-rounded balance. Because if you have well-rounded balance, that's what's going to end up, getting you further in the playoff push. But obviously, if Trevor is hurt, then we don't know what we're going to get out of that team. The offense isn't going to be as crisp, and you can't count on Josh Allen on that Jags defense to be able to hold it down. They're going to do their part, but I think that's a sleeper team that could go further than people think. But again, it all depends if Etienne and Trevor are on that right page and they're healthy. Because when they're rolling, they can beat the Dolphins. They can beat the Bills. They can beat the Chiefs. They can beat the Ravens. The Jags are good enough to beat anybody in the AFC when they're healthy and rolling. But the question is, can they be hot and healthy at that time? And with that Trevor injury, I don't know. Let me know what you want to see for a photo reflect. You want a husky or something of that nature? Let me know. We got a few more dollars to hit the goal. Second down and 3. Football is crazy too, because like I said, you can get your ass kicked for 3 quarters, and then just imagine right now you're down by 14. Let's say you get an interception, you score, you get a stop, you get a score, then you go to overtime, and they kick a field goal and they win, and you're like, how the hell did the Eagles come back? But you have to believe that you can come back in any scenario. But when you're going against a team that's just as good as you and you're on the road, right? Sometimes you're going to get exposed, and this is one of these games. Michael Penix Jr. Okay, Bo, Jalen, I got you. Penix and Bo, I got you. Dak, going for the jugular. You got to have a better throw than that. Fantasy points. Kick is up. God, he's good. Is he the best kicker in the NFL? He looks like it. He looks like it, especially from deep, too. Consistency, deep. And maybe this is, the things that you need to notice. You might have the best kicker in the league. Dak is playing better. Dan Quinn has got that defense going. Micah hasn't really been as dominant in years past, but maybe that's okay. Once it was Diggs last year, now you got Deron Bland. Maybe this Cowboy team can win a game because they won't be against the Eagles, or the Cowboys, or maybe they'll end up getting a bye this year. Maybe the Eagles will have to go on the road, and maybe it'll be the Niners and the Cowboys as the 1 and the 2 seed. I mean, if the Cowboys win, they're tied at 10-3. So, I mean, who's been playing better this season, the Cowboys or the Eagles? My mouse isn't working. It's funny. It's working on my files, but not on StreamYard here for whatever reason. I mean, history tends to repeat itself, but remember, right? Sometimes history is meant to be broken, and at some point, the Cowboys are going to win a playoff game. At some point, the Cowboys will be in the NFC Championship game. At some point, I don't know when, but at some point, maybe even the Cowboys will overachieve and make the Super Bowl. It just every single year you'll get Stephen A. and Skip Bayless, and you're going to get all these people, Cowboy fans, delusional, living in the past. 90, 92, 93, 95. You guys can't win. You guys can't win. But now the rest of the NFC is kind of fizzling out, and they are a top 3 team, and it kind of feels different this year. So you never know. That's good that Jaden Daniels got it, because that way Bo and Michael Penix Jr. won't get cursed with that award. 30-13 Cowboys. That's why it pays to have a good defense and a good kicker. You never know if your quarterback ends up playing shitty, and you can end up getting a dub because you can get 30 points combined out of your kicker and your defense. I always shoot for 20 to 35 points for my kicker and my defense, which is super aggressive. But if you get it, 99% of the time you win, as long as the other guys don't shit the bed that bad. So yes, I do like Michael Penix Jr. with the names all inside the jacket. I love that as well. I saw that. He's a selfless man, dude. That's why I even liked him more than Bo Nix, man. Lefty, went through a lot of heartache and heartbreak. A true team player through and through. Love me some Rome. That's why I'm so happy I'm not a hater. Like, I'm not just one of these like Duck fans that just like fuck everyone. Fuck the Beavers, fuck the Cougs, fuck the Huskies, fuck the Trojans. I mean, I wouldn't be able to enjoy life if I had that kind of mindset. And it's just sad how many NFL and college football fans that are like that. It's one thing to act like that when you're young and immature, but once you mature and you get older, it's nice to, be able to appreciate the greatness, and that's what I try to teach and preach here on this channel. That it's okay to have the rivalries, but you can also appreciate greatness. You never know. That guy that you hate on every single week might end up being on your team in 4 years. A la Donovan McNabb to the Redskins, and a la Carson Wentz. It's like, oh, that guy sucks. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. And then all of a sudden, 4 years later, that's the quarterback on your team. I feel like it almost happened by the gods, like they did it on purpose, because they heard all those fans talking shit, and then all of a sudden, like, all right, well, this is who your quarterback's going to be then. 30-13 Cowboys. Shotgun set. But it also shows you, Diggs, Bland, Micah, and they got the best defensive coordinator in the NFL in Dan Quinn. At some point, if you got one of the best defenses and one of the best defensive coordinators and one of the best defensive players, at some point, Dak has got to play better. McCarthy's got to, play call better, and they have to be able to win. At some point, you can't be this shitty and this cursed forever. At some point, the Cowboys have to get it right. And now they got a number 1 kicker on the roster too. So like everything is like starting to come together, where they didn't have the number 1 kicker before. They didn't have the right play callers. And I still don't like McCarthy. You know what I mean? But he's doing better than the McCarthy Kellen Moore combo in years past. Things are starting to come together for Dallas, but I'm not ready to crown them just yet. And even as shitty as the Eagles are playing today, Philadelphia could still win the Super Bowl. That's just the way the NFL is. As shitty as they look today, and as shitty as they've looked in some of these games, they could still win the Super Bowl. Will they? I don't know. I kind of like the Niners more, honestly. And the Eagles went to the Super Bowl last year, so it's very difficult to go back-to-back years, statistically speaking. So we know the Chiefs aren't going, but the Philadelphia Eagles, even with the 28th ranked defense, they could still get there. Because, I mean, who's their only competition? Niners, Cowboys, that's it. They can beat everyone else. No one else has a shot. You know, Lions don't have a defense. Seahawks are beat up. Everyone in the NFC South sucks. Jordan Love and the Packer defense has been playing good as of late, but are they going to do it in the playoffs? Probably not. So who's going to beat these teams? Niners, Eagles, Cowboys. There's no one that can beat them. So as long as you can get to the game, you're going to get there. You know what I mean? There's no competition. I mean, hell, if the Lions and the Seahawks were healthy, or if the Lions had a fucking defense, you could say, oh, maybe Detroit. Oh, maybe Seattle. But I don't see it, you know? You know, it's like by default, even with a shitty defense, Philly has to be favored still, you know, as one of the top three with the Cowboys and the Niners. But now the pecking order might be different. Instead of Eagles, Niners, Cowboys, maybe now it's Niners, Cowboys, Eagles. Maybe Eagles go from first to third now, you know, until they can prove that they can be better on defense. But they got that explosion on offense, boy. Fumble. Dayquil, NyQuil, all the quills. Coughed it up. But I think he was done. The next Steve Young, Michael Penix Jr. How cool would that be? It'd be great for the sport. Great for lefties, you know? Someone better than Tua. Or imagine if we got a lefty Super Bowl. Tua, and then wherever Penix goes, you know, if he was able to, you know, get them there. That would be the most entertaining Super Bowl ever. A lefty going deep with another lefty going deep. That would be incredible. You know, maybe Tua, but I don't know. We'll have to see where Penix ends up dropping. But I'm still going to be rooting to try to get him, you know. You know, a really good spot for Michael Penix Jr. would be Pittsburgh. You know, if Pittsburgh decided to move on from Kenny Pickett and they got Michael Penix Jr. and he was able to stay healthy and they built that O-line better, you know, and kept building that defense, you could actually build something with that team. But again, you know, all their fans are so upset they're calling for Tomlin's head. So if Tomlin gets fired, come to Tampa. Well, thank you. So, but I'm hoping Michael Penix Jr. comes to Tampa, but who knows? Maybe I get Jaden Daniels. Maybe I get Bo Nix. Maybe I get Michael Penix Jr. But whoever the hell Tampa gets, I hope we get a quarterback. But who knows if we will? 6 more doll hairs to hit the goal. 6 doll hairs. We got that. We got time to get $6. Yeah, but Penix is a lot better than Gabriel. I mean, we got Gabriel on the Ducks, but he ain't no Michael Penix Jr., bro. Guy is special. He's got all the attributes. You know, good. He's got the good family. He's got the good support system, right? You know, he's intelligent. You know, he's team first instead of me first. You know, like there's all those little intangibles that coaches and people look for. He's got them all. The only thing that is going to go against him is his body. If his body breaks down, then he's fucked. But if it doesn't, he's going to be great. Mark my words. Reflect with the tour. To Darahara, to Darahara, bang, 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 boom, 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 to Darahara. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. And I'm a Duck fan saying this, so obviously, if I'm this passionate and I feel this strongly for a team and a player that's not the Ducks, it must be true. You know what I mean? I'm not wrong often. You know what I mean? Like I said, I watch a lot of film. I read a lot. I got ESP. You know, the gods will speak to me. I'll have a dream. I'll say something. It happens. I'm not going to be right 100% of the time, but it also depends on team fit too. But I really feel the only way that he fails, you know, is if his body breaks down. And hopefully he has the right people around him. to help him succeed. Because I would love to see him succeed in like the Giants or Pittsburgh or Tampa or wherever he decides to get drafted. But I just hope that they have the good supporting cast and coach to help him succeed. Caleb? That's tough. I don't know. I'm not sure if Caleb really reminds me of anybody. You know what I mean? Because he's kind of like an RPO guy. At times he can have flashes like Patrick Mahomes, but his accuracy really concerns me. And if you're not very good in completion percentage, I actually think that Caleb has the highest chance to bust out of all the quarterbacks. Because if he doesn't go to the right coach, the right team, the right O-line, the right running backs, the right wide receivers, the right scheme, I could see him being a bust. I could see him being above average, but if you pick him number one overall, you can't have him be mid or above average. He needs to be the franchise guy, and I don't know if he will be. We'll find out. But you could say that about Drake May, Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., Quinn Ewers. I mean, you could say that about all the quarterbacks. All of them have potential to bust. But I have a lot of concerns, and my number one concern is completion percentage. And when he played against shitty teams, it was like 70%, 70 touchdowns, 5 picks. When he played against a top 25 team, it was like 8 touchdowns, 8 picks, and his completion percentage went from 70 to 50. And that was in college. What do you think the NFL is going to be? Hell harder, much harder. So that makes me very concerned about Caleb Williams, and I think that he's got the biggest chance to bust out of all the quarterbacks. And I like him, but I have to keep it real. I'm not going to just be like, well, completion percentage and playing good teams doesn't matter. The hell it does. It fucking matters a lot. How are you going to go from 75 touchdowns and 5 picks against shitty teams and then 8-8? That's fucking alarming, and not in a good way. And then how do you go from 70% completion percentage to 50? That's alarming, and that's college. And a lot of players in college suck ass. So we'll see. I hope it works out for him, though. The only place I think that Caleb would succeed is New York on the Giants. If he goes anywhere else, he's going to fail. That's just my, my opinion. So his athleticism is going to be what? Justin Fields? How good is he doing? You can have athleticism, but just because you're an athletic quarterback don't mean shit. You need to know how to throw. You got to be able to make the throws and stay in the pocket. Anyone that's been a gimmick quarterback, how's that worked out for him? Colin Kaepernick, out of the league. RG3, out of the league, right? Think about all the quarterbacks that play that type of style. Justin Fields, overrated. Right? How many guys has it really worked out for that's been a running quarterback? What, Lamar? One? But he actually is a pocket guy who actually has the opportunity to run. Michael Vick, Steve Young. I mean, there's only going to be so many guys that can do it, but also those guys are lefties. Last time I checked, Caleb Williams isn't a lefty. But athleticism is only going to get you so far before a linebacker fucking cleans your clock and then you have an injury. Just ask AR and Anthony Richardson with Sarah, right? Athletic quarterback, where did that get him? On fucking IR. Great arm, but he shouldn't have run as much as he did. And what happened? He got a season-ending injury right away in his rookie year. If he would have slid and threw the ball away, maybe they're still playing right now today. So athleticism doesn't mean shit. You have to be able to complete passes in the pocket. Being able to scramble out of the pocket is important because that's the way the league is designed now, right? But you can't be that. That can't be the focal point where you're a runner first, passer second, like Justin Fields. You're going to be a failure. I mean, the only way that Justin Fields' career gets revamped is if he goes to like a team like the Niners, where you have all the pieces around you, O-line, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, defense, and a brilliant coach. Then Justin Fields could work in San Fran. Why did they pick him? Because they didn't believe he could throw. And then they picked Trey Lance, and obviously that didn't work out either. But Lamar is a thrower. People want to act like Lamar is a runner first. He's a thrower first. And if you watched him at Louisville, he actually is a damn good thrower, but people just want to project him as a runner because he's the best runner in the NFL. And we've seen him run for like 30, 40, 50-yard touchdowns. So they just assume, he's a runner. No, he's a thrower that can run, and he's the best running quarterback, but he's a thrower first. Same thing with like Michael Vick, and Lamar is better than Michael Vick. So, but if you're more designed as a runner first, you're fucked. You're not going to make it. Your career is going to be short-lived. So you better learn how to be in the pocket and be a good leader. Otherwise, a safety or a linebacker is going to come for your legs, and you are done. Facts. I mean, name one RPO quarterback that survived. Is Marcus Mariota doing good? Is RG3 doing good? Is Colin Kaepernick doing good? Fuck no. So, and Mariota is a Duck. So, I mean, it is what it is. His was more injuries more than anything, but that style of quarterback will never be successful. There's just too much skill set on the defense, too many athletic bodies, and too many people gunning for you, going for your legs, where you think that you're going to be able to get that extra 15-yard gain, and they're going to roll up on your ankle or pull you down, and then there goes your season. You know, E-Man in the building. Michael with a tenor. He says, I want someone to eat dinner tonight. There you go. Appreciate you, brother. Bang, bang, bang. Boom, boom, boom. Bang, bang, baby. What do you want to see? You want some AK-41? What do you want? I got you. Bang, bang. Appreciate you, brother. Only problem that I got, and that concerns me is no Talanoa Hufanga. But other than that, I mean, like I said, I got the Niners going to the Super Bowl this year. I mean, things could change in a few weeks if there's injuries and whatnot, but they're the most complete team to me. And I've always said that I thought that, and if you would go back and you check the receipts, I said it years ago, that Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan were going to get Super Bowls within the next 7 years. McVay got his, Shanahan's on the cusp. And those are my two favorite coaches based off play calling schemes and being intelligent. There's other coaches that I like and whatnot, but as far as being intelligent with their play calling and finding weaknesses on the defense, nobody is better than McVay and Shanahan being able to do that. And obviously, we know the Rams are no longer Super Bowl contenders, but they were able to do what they needed to do to get that ring. And Kyle Shanahan to me is, he's on the cusp of something very special. Damn right he is. Draft Trey Lance, fuck up. Also pick Brock Purdy as an insurance plan just in case, right? They beat Oregon in the bowl game, so I already knew he was good at Iowa State. And then again, let's be honest. I mean, literally, you could plug in almost anybody and have success. But if you can get a guy that can give you top 10 stats, that's what's going to get you that Super Bowl win. But Jimmy wasn't good enough. You have all these other guys. Kaepernick wasn't good enough. But if you end up getting a guy, even though it seems so unlikely, Brock Purdy, but if he ends up being efficient, like he has been, he could end up being that guy where it's Joe Montana, Steve Young, Brock Purdy. It sounds crazy, but sometimes you need that guy that can put up the top 10 stats. He may not ever be considered a top 10 quarterback because of being Mr. Irrelevant and people hating. You know what I mean? But again, it shows you how good Kyle Shanahan is. The only piece they ever needed was a fucking quarterback. That tells me how great he is as a coach. In fact. I think Purdy is good. I think it's partially a part of the system because he's got a great O-line, a great defense, a great head coach, a great play caller, great receivers, great running back. It's a combination of everything. But, right, being a part of the system is one thing, but also there is games where Purdy does above and beyond anyone's wildest dreams, whether you're a Niner hater or you're, a big fan like yourself, where he ends up throwing for 3, 4, 5 touchdown passes. And if he was just a product of the system, he would only be throwing for 1 or 2. So that tells me that he's got a little bit of dog in him, and he's a little bit better than people give him credit for. Now, if Brock Purdy was on Cleveland, would he succeed? No, he wouldn't. But if he was on a team that actually had, like, let's say the Dolphins, would he be able to succeed there? Yeah, he would. I think you just have to have enough supporting cast. But obviously, if you really be honest about it, the Niners have the best supporting cast and coach in the league. You got the coach, you got the O-line, top 3, defense, like top, one of the top ones, top 3, right? You got wide receivers, amazing players. You got the best running back, run CMC. But even before they got McCaffrey, you can, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, you literally can plug and play anybody in a Kyle Shanahan system at quarterback and running back and be successful, as long as they're not dog shit. They actually have to have some kind of skill set. You know what I mean? But it's the only team that you can plug and play anybody at quarterback and running back and win 10 games or more. I mean, prove me wrong. But if you get a good one, right, then it'll go from 10 wins maybe to 11, 12, 13, 14, and possibly a Super Bowl. Kick is up. Best kicker in the NFL. Moo! It's good. Jimmy Graham, AARP. No, I got Dolphins, Niners. But I think Ravens could. But if Ravens had Mark Andrews, maybe I would say them. But that Mark Andrews loss might be a little bit too much to come. It's like I get it. You got Zay and you got Isaiah Likely and you got OBJ. But against good corners, I mean, what happens? And then what happens if they stop the run? It's not like Lamar is throwing for 3 and running for 2 every week. Sometimes Lamar's only throwing for 100, 150 yards. That's concerning. If he's throwing for like 250, 350, 400, then I'm like, okay, but losing Mark Andrews, we can't act like that's not going to matter. I like the Ravens defense. They got one of the best defenses in the league. They're better than Miami there, but Miami's defense is top 5. They got Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard, they got Mike McDaniel. So I think that, it could be one of those 2 teams. It could be Ravens, Niners, or it could end up being Dolphins, Niners. But we have to wait because if there's injuries, you never know. But if I had to guess today, I would say Dolphins, Niners is my number 1. Ravens, Niners would be my number 2. So. But again, Mark Andrews not being there is a huge blow, and to act like it's not is ridiculous because you can't trust OBJ or Zay or Isaiah Likely or anybody else on a game in, game out basis. Hell, you can't even trust the running backs with Gus the Bus Edwards and everybody else. They don't have anybody that you can trust. Even Lamar, you can't trust game in and game out. It's not like they're bad. The only thing that you can trust on the Ravens is their defense and Roquan Smith every game. Other than that, you can't trust all the pieces on the offense. Yeah, you might be able to trust them for a game or 2, but you can't just honestly look me in the eyes and say that you trust the Raven offense every game the rest of the year. You can't. Like I said, Mark Andrews is a big loss. That's a top 2 tight end. But the Ravens still could overachieve, right, and beat the Chiefs, beat the Bills, beat the Dolphins, beat the Jags, and the Ravens could end up playing the Niners in the Super Bowl. It's not like I'm saying they can't. They can. Very possible. (33-13) Dallas. That shows you how important defense is. You don't got a defense, you get your ass kicked when you play a team that actually is well-rounded on both sides of the ball. My prediction was correct. I had Dallas winning, and I was right. I didn't know if it would be a blowout like this, but usually when I have a hunch, I'm usually right. I predicted that the Bills would win too, and they did. So sometimes you can tell based on how a team has been playing lately on how things are going to go. Mr. AARP himself, Jimmy Graham. Yeah, but if I got to go with 5 teams, just like everyone else, right? Cowboys, Eagles, Niners, Ravens, Dolphins. You're gonna get a Super Bowl champ out of one of those 5 teams. Period. I mean, like I said, those are the best 5 right now. And then sleeper team and the AFC is the Jags. If Trevor can get healthy, but that's a big, big if. And then I don't think I have any other sleepers in the NFC. So I would say Detroit if they had a goddamn defense and if Goff has been playing better, but he sucks. He's not playing good, and the defense is absolutely terrible. So there's no one else that you can actually say with a straight face on the NFC side. There is not another team. It's Cowboys, Eagles, Niners, Ravens, Jags, the Dolphins, and that's it. I can't even put the Chiefs in there, until they can prove to me that offense can get turned around. But you don't have Eric Bieniemy, and then if the Chiefs fans think, oh, Eric Bieniemy doesn't matter, it doesn't. It sure looks as hell as it does. And like I said, it's not just Nagy, it's just not Nagy. It's just not all the wide receivers dropping. It's discipline. It's about lining up, in the neutral zone, drops with Kadarius Toney. The defense can't do it all. Mahomes doesn't have that swagger. Taylor Swift, distraction. Whether you want to admit those things are a problem or not, but all of those things, no Juju, right? No Bieniemy, Taylor Swift, Mahomes, the drops by the receivers, it's all adding up, and they're feeling the pressure for the very first time where they're not the best team in the AFC, and they can see their dreams getting ripped from them right in front of their very eyes. The Buffalo Bills had to go through that fucking realization too. You had a time and a moment to get it done. Buffalo missed their moment. The Chiefs were the best team in the NFL. Now they're not. It's a hard pill to swallow. Other teams are better than you now. You just have to live with it. That's what it is. They get past the second round if they have a game at home at some point, but we'll see. But again, everyone likes to be able to react or overreact. We have a big win here for the Cowboys, 33-13. Allen is happy. But let's just be really honest here. As bad as the Eagle defense is, 28th, 29th, right? If the game is in Philadelphia, who wins tonight? Who wins? Right? And if the Cowboys win, what's the score? Is it this big? No. And does Philly win? Possibly. And if Philly loses, they don't lose by 20. And why is that? Because home field advantage matters. Uncle Mo matters. The fans matter. So, if you get home field, it definitely makes a big difference. I can't wait to see what all the Eagle fans say is excuses for losing. Tell them, Dak. And you got to think, the Cowboys have actually should have won a playoff game within the last 10 years multiple times. It's just like I think they get in their head, whether they're at home or on the road, they always remember, oh, we lost last year, we choked. Oh, we lost, we choked. Oh, we lost. And something has to change. You can't have a great defense, the best defensive coordinator, one of the best defensive players on planet Earth, and Micah Parsons, and fail forever. At some point, if you have good players on both sides of the ball and you can get the right coaching and the right play calling and the right kicker and the right scheme, eventually you should be able to win by default at least once in the Dak era. And it feels like maybe it's going to be this year. Maybe not win all and go all the way. I'm just saying win a playoff game. So. Hi, I'm good. I played soccer. I'm good. Yeah. 60, 59, 45, and 50. Fantasy points. He says, I'm good, biatch. Yes, you are. I'm jealous. I wish I had him in fantasy. Reflex got him. And honestly, I wouldn't mind if the Cowboys won the Super Bowl or made an NFC championship game. I mean, like I said, at some point, a fan base needs to be able to stop being made fun of, and they can actually have some joy. They haven't done shit since 1995. What year are we in? 2023. I mean, do they really deserve to suffer for fucking that long? 1995 all the way to 2023? Like, really? Almost 30 years? They're due, you know? Niners, Cowboys, Lions, pretender, Tampa, pretender, Minnesota, pretender, Green Bay, pretender, Rams, pretender, Seahawks, injured, Atlanta, pretender, Saints, pretender, Eagles, offense, awesome, defense, pretender. Whoever's got the most well-balanced teams does the best. Oh, look, Niners and Cowboys. They are the most well-balanced. They are the best. And Philly's record should be like Detroit's, 9-4, or maybe 8-4. There's a few games that they shouldn't have won that they did because of Jalen. Jalen rescued them with a couple wins. So, yep. Jimmy Johnson too. No more Jimmy Johnson. They had Barry Switzer and whatnot, but Jimmy Johnson though. It shows you got to be able to have a special kind of coach too. But now, if you're a Cowboy fan, you're happy. But now you're going to get respect. You're going to finally get respect. You didn't win by 3. It wasn't 16-13. Haters would still hate. You won by fucking 20 at home. Like, congrats. That's, you know what I mean? But then the Eagles are going to be like, well, if we're at home, you're not going to be able to come to Philadelphia and beat us in the playoffs. Well, if you keep fucking losing games, you're not going to get home field advantage, and you will lose. So Dallas is in a great position to be a top 2 seed with San Fran. And if that's the case, the same type of result could happen again. So, again, home field advantage is going to be more important for Dallas than any other team in the NFC. Big facts. Jimmy, 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 Jimmy. I kept telling those Eagle fans, don't be so goddamn cocky. Stop it with all that bullshit on TikTok and Instagram. I'm telling you, sports gods don't like that. They see that shit. They don't like that shit. And you didn't listen. You kept making stupid ass videos. You kept being extra. And then now you lost your opportunity from last year, and you're not even going to get a chance to go this year. Sometimes people don't learn. They don't listen. They just want to, think they're on top of the world, and they want to be extra. Being extra will never, ever get your dreams to come true. Facts. If anything, it's going to teach you a fucking lesson not to be extra. Not if Philadelphia doesn't have home field advantage, because if it ends up being Dallas and Philadelphia and Dallas, Philly ain't winning. They ain't going to win. I mean, how are you going to turn around a 28th ranked defense that can't cover in the secondary and can't cover with linebackers? Yeah, in years past, but maybe this is the year that the Cowboys actually get it done. Play calling has been more crisp. They have a number 1 kicker. They got the number 1 defensive coordinator. They got one of the top defensive guys. Dak is playing better. Maybe they could get the ball to Tony Pollard a little bit more. CD's playing like a top 5 receiver. He's never been a top 5 receiver. I mean, things are kind of shaping up where if you want to look in the past and you want to look in your rear view mirror, go ahead. But I'm going to be looking ahead. I'm looking forward. And I think that this could be the year that Philadelphia doesn't get there. And they already went last year. So if you went last year, you may not get there this year. It's hard to be able to go back to a Super Bowl when you already went. Big facts. Any other pictures or anything else that anyone wants to see? I got to be able to eat some dinner, and I got to take Paisley on another long walk. I'll do some reaction videos tomorrow. Hopefully they don't get blocked. And then we're going to end up doing the Dolphins and the Titans because fuck that Packer and Giant game. That'll be boring as hell. You would assume the Packers will win. It'll be boring. But at least with the Dolphins, if they blow out the Titans, at least maybe we'll get Derrick Henry with a touchdown or two, and then we'll see we'll see Tyreek, we'll see Waddle. It'll be more exciting. So I'll do the Dolphin game tomorrow. There'll be 2 NFL games. Now we got the Ravens, the Dolphins. Chiefs look like pretenders. Jags, they look like they could be a contender. Browns, pretender. Pittsburgh, pretender. Colts, pretender. Houston, Denver, Cincinnati, Buffalo, pretender. You only really have 3. Baltimore, Miami, and Jacksonville. Those are the only 3 legit teams in the AFC to me. Ty Wallace, that was an amazing ending. Waddle, Mostert, and I got Dolphins defense, and you got if you look at my roster, on how I build a roster, it's people that I believe in. And I'm not gonna have people that I don't believe in, but again, sometimes I get stuck with them like Patrick Mahomes. What am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? Do I have the Lions defense? No, I don't. I mean, sometimes you got to go with people and units that you believe in. And Mahomes is like literally the only one on my roster that I wouldn't roster. But I have to because he's Patrick Mahomes and I have no other choice. I have to keep him on the bench or use Sam Howell or try to find someone else. So, all right. Anything else that anybody wants to see, photo wise or anything like that? I'm going to do a couple of pictures of food here and then we'll call it a day. $20 win. 20. Pretty amazing. Oh, baby. What you know about that brisket, boy? Just something to give you guys some inspiration on maybe food later on this week. Jalen, 8.88. Is that good? And that win you a fantasy championship? Fuck no. And that's why we have concerns. I got Mahomes. You got Jalen. At least you have Brock Purdy, who I rostered earlier in the year and dropped. So at least you got him. And he'll be up and down, but, we'll have to wait and see how things kind of play out. That's why it's important to have two quarterbacks, especially late. You never know if a guy is going to start sucking ass late. Brisket. Ugh. Ooh, with the baked beans in the background. Let's go. Give me that brisket sandwich. Brisket. So good. I mean, that's really what you have to do. I mean, all you do is you follow what I do, and then if I drop someone, I don't drop them because they suck most of the time. I'm making room for someone else. So pretty much, you watch what I do all year. You pick up the guys that I drop, put them on your team, and then you end up building yourself a super roster. And then boom shakalaka, you're in the playoffs with me. So there you go. Spy on me. I mean, that's the easiest thing to do, which a lot of people try to do. So it would be. I mean, hell, I would spy on me if I was doing as good as I was doing for sure. There you go. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys, and I love you guys very, very much. Shout out to everyone that donated, commented, shared. You guys are the fucking best. We've hit the goal 3 days in a row. We haven't done that in a long fucking time. But also, we had 3 streams where we hit $0, $1, and $5. So it's definitely making up for that. But I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Matt, Reflect, Sarah, LG, Hybrid, everyone else, I appreciate you. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Reaction videos tomorrow at some point. I got to go to the store, and then we'll end up doing the Dolphins and the Titans. Fuck that Packer Giant game. No one gives a shit about that. And I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. And I got one question for you. Who talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, and I'm out. Gang.